Hey everyone, the Talking Dads podcast is brought to you by Little Scholars Early Learning Center. Whether your family needs infant care, a preschool program, or before and after school care, Little Scholars' highly rated Step Up to Quality programs provide quality early childhood education at an affordable price. Visit www.littlescholars.net to get in contact with an enrollment specialist and schedule a tour of any of their 5 Lake County campuses. Here's the deal. Talking Dads fans are getting a little bonus. Mention that you heard about them through our podcast, and when you tour, and you'll receive $25 off of your registration fee. Again, that's Little Scholars Early Learning Center, where children learn, play, and grow together. We are also brought to you by Pub Fredo Gastropub. Pub Fredo was voted Best Gastropub in Cleveland in 2019 by Cleveland Magazine Silver Spoon Awards. We love Pub Fredo. Their menu is chef-inspired, always pushing the limits of traditional pub fare. The other night I had a burger, I believe it was called the Pub Burger. It was incredible. Cooked perfectly. It was amazing. And you won't have a problem pairing your favorite item on the menu with their great selection of local craft beers, crafted cocktails, and of course, an amazing bourbon and whiskey selection. I went with the Bullet 10-year with my Pub Burger. All of this in a cozy, fun, come-as-you-are atmosphere. You can check them out at pubfredo.com and on Facebook and Instagram at Pubfredo Gastropub. Hey guys, welcome to the show. This week, Tim Thompson comes in studio and talks to us about being a dad. He's got older kids than we have, and so it's kind of cool to get his perspective. Tim's a former police officer and worked with my dad years ago, so it was hilarious getting some stories out of him, both about my dad and about me, unfortunately. So that was neat. We also talked to him about his business, OsteoStrong, and how the things that they're doing in bone density and how that's affecting men and women. A lot of fun stuff. We drank a fantastic Irish whiskey that I still can't pronounce. Check it out, like it, share it, tell your friends, and as always, we appreciate you.
In a world where moms continue to dominate parenting authority and a father's role is minimized in society, 2 dads take on the toughest parenting topics on a weekly basis, all while drinking bourbon. They are the Talking Dads.
All right, Tim, what's going on, dude?
Yeah, life is good, man.
Life is good. We are here at the Collab by Notion in beautiful downtown Willoughby for another wonderful episode of the Talking Dads. Thanks for coming in and seeing us.
And thanks for bringing this bottle.
This very fancy-looking Irish whiskey that I've never had before.
I have not.
How do you say that?
I was going to say $10 on the first one that pronounces that correctly. I can call my buddy from Ireland up and have him tell us, but
not gonna work anymore.
By the end of the night, I don't know what it'll be called, but
we'll figure it out. We'll see what you can say at the end.
Yeah, hopefully good whiskey.
I do like that we're starting to branch out into more whiskeys and more types of whiskey. You know, I still love bourbon more than anything. Well, not more than anything. Love my wife, love my kids. And when it comes to the spirits, but I am kind of excited that, you know, we're doing some more ryes and we're going to do an Irish whiskey tonight. So that's cool.
Very cool.
All right. So, Tim, before we get a little bit further, give us your dad profile, just like a 30 to 60-second monologue of who you are, what makes you a dad, and then we'll get into everything else.
Well, I've got 2 kids, 21 and 17. What makes me a dad? Well, I guess I got my ex-wife pregnant, so I pretty much did it. But,
that'll do it.
No, I'm blessed. I mean, I've got 2 fantastic kids. Fortunately, they're not like me at that age, you know. Hopefully they don't hear this, but I've been blessed. My daughter's in nursing school. My son's going to auto tech school at Auburn Career Center.
Oh, nice.
They're sending him to statewide competitions. He's doing real well with that stuff. So,
Awesome,
man.
But
So
I'm
21
truly
and
blessed.
17?
17,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, Colin's got a mullet.
Nice.
I like it.
Nice.
Yeah, your old man was the first one to give him beer.
Nice.
Yeah, he was 18 months old.
Well, that makes sense. That makes
Sounds
sense.
about right.
He said he's Irish. He should have.
Yeah, all right.
Speaking of mullets, so my son, Gibson, who just turned 5, he had this kick-ass mullet that was going on for the, so he didn't have a haircut all throughout, the lockdown and everything. And so my wife's like, hey, go get him as soon as they opened up, get him a haircut. I can't handle how shaggy it is, everything else. I'm like, okay. I'm like, anything you want me to get done? And she's like, I don't care as long as it's a haircut. Cool. So I'm like, Gibbs, what do you want? He goes, I want a mohawk. I'm like, dude.
Like, don't you want a mullet? I mean, his mullet was so good.
So I'm like, what if we do like the cool guy, like, like the baseball players that kind of keep it a little bit longer in the back and shave the sides. So we did that, and it just looked like such a mullet, but we kept it, man. And I don't know, it was like, 3 or 4 weeks, and she's finally like, I don't care, go get it cut.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was
She's like,
phenomenal.
I can't take
I was
it
so
anymore.
disappointed
It was
when
so
he cut
good.
it. Oh, so good.
So Mama didn't like it. Huh?
Mama didn't like it,
Yeah,
no.
well, if Mama's not happy, nobody's happy.
Yeah,
That's
then it's
right.
like, okay, we got to give in and do it.
That's right.
Hey, that's the way it works. What are you going to do?
So, Tim, what you did not mention is that and you can tell me how long or whatever, so you worked with my dad for a lot of years.
Yeah.
God bless you.
15, 20 years.
Yeah.
We were on the same force. Yeah.
Yeah, so police officers. And so I grew up with a bunch of these guys just constantly busting balls and, doing whatever. But that's pretty cool. And I definitely want to get into a couple of those stories.
Oh, boy.
Because I always find it fun to hear it from not my dad's
Yeah,
point of
for
view,
sure.
You
I'm
know
trying
what I
to think of
mean?
the statute of limitations.
You know what? We could always cut some things out if it gets too crazy.
Right. So if you see
We
like
have
a
the
long,
ability.
if it looks like a weird cut or it sounds like a weird cut in this, we had a lot of fun.
It was a great conversation.
We emptied the bottle.
Yeah.
Right.
You really
You'll
started
know.
telling stories.
You'll know quick.
Yeah, it cuts and the bottle's just gone.
Right.
Wow, what happened to that hour? Oh, there we go.
What was that?
So
So Ian's got these.
Oh, the arm of the chair.
He's got the little lever to lower the chair. His calves hit it every time. You figure he'd learn. I think it's at least once or twice an
at least
episode.
once an episode, usually multiple times. But hey,
Hey, what are you gonna do?
I thought I was going to stuff my wallet in your mouth. I thought you were having a seizure.
Would have acted fast. Jump over the table. I got you.
thanks, man.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
So we'll get into some of that stuff in a little bit, but I guess what we've been trying to figure out recently is now that, what we were doing is now that coronavirus is like done with.
Yeah,
Right.
and then all of a sudden,
How are what are you excited to get back to? And now who the hell knows what we're going through and how long we're going to be able to.
what even was said last night?
Nothing.
I feel like he just danced around
It was
everything.
a stern talking to from Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I
I
think-
recommend you do this,
I think.
but
So last night, Governor DeWine came out and basically just said, wear your mask and don't be stupid. That was like the synopsis.
It's pretty much common sense.
Right.
yes, absolutely. That's what you should be doing anyway.
I think that was a precursor to like next week or something like that. See, I told you if you didn't tell me or if you didn't do what you were supposed to do, we were going to have to shut down. And like, I'm terrified about that.
Well, yeah, same here. Well,
for sure,
I mean,
everybody.
yeah.
with your business, with my business, I mean, it's just. And Steve, I don't even know.
So I
what you do,
work
sir.
in electrical sales. I sell high voltage and utility equipment to. Well, First Energy is my main customer. So luckily, depending on how severe it is, but if it's like last time, I'm still able to work.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Well,
First
you
Energy
have
still.
to work,
Yeah, I have
yeah.
to. I guess I would be called an essential worker.
And I worked all through the quarantine, just painting and cleaning, our
That's like
center.
what I
and
was doing,
whatnot.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's
Staying busy.
there's always something to do
Right.
there. So
Yeah.
I kept busy, but
But I mean, it's just so crazy. I mean, if we had to go through that again to see what these businesses would have to go through, I mean, it was tough enough already.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw in your
Right.
industry,
Right.
A lot of
and
a
we're
lot
not
of businesses
even back.
No,
you know?
so I mean, a lot of
We're-
places
we're
closed,
halfway
and then you guys
back.
are halfway back.
Right.
I mean, you don't even have, and then we start to think about all the people that can't send their kids anywhere.
Right.
So if the childcare centers are shut down because a lot of them went out of business, and then the rest of them have like what percentage is it? Is it half now, or is it like
no,
30%?
It's like 30 to 40% somewhere in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And so here's the messed up thing. Excuse me. So at first we had to apply for like a special pandemic license. And so what that said was we were allowed to open at very small ratios for only essential workers. Right. And so it was basically nurses. I mean, the list was very short. There was like 7 professions on there that we could legally care for.
Right.
So whatever, we played by the rules and we did that. And now the nice thing is that there was like a supplement payment through Ohio Department of Job and Family Services that money was earmarked to go to centers anyway, and they continued to pay it out. So we were roughly bringing in half the revenue that we were used to. Not great, but certainly
something.
Other businesses had it way worse, you know?
Yeah, so we got through that. 0.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got through that. And then they said, okay, you can open up to anyone, again, at smaller ratios, but, and that other payment went away, but there was going to be another supplement type of payment. And we're like, okay. And it's going to be good for at least 3 months. So it should be good through August. Month 1, so it was June, July, August that there was supposed to be money for. June, they overspent by like 54 million or something like that.
Oh, that's it
throughout the state. So July's payment got cut in half, and there's nothing for August, and we still don't have our ratios.
Jesus,
I'm like, people aren't going to stay open. Like,
no.
Who can survive that?
Yeah,
No one.
You know,
I mean,
and you look at, everybody's blaming this spike on the bars and whatnot. Everybody seems to forget that a couple of weeks ago there were how many thousands of people rioting and protesting.
yeah.
And,
I mean, there's so many different things and it's like, yeah, it's the young kids going out to the bars. It's a lot more than just that.
Right.
Oh God, yes.
We had tens of thousands of people downtown.
Yeah.
Doing the protesting and stuff, which fine. Like,
hey,
I don't really care.
At your own risk, but it's still going to spread like
don't
crazy.
Don't blame it on something else, like when they've done that, and then like the pool parties and stuff like that. Of course, that's. I mean,
well, then, you figure these kids that have been just locked down, they can't do anything for months, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, I can go hang out with my friends."
Right.
And they're like, "Hey, let's just us hang out." Well, let's invite some more people over. Next thing you know, 15 of those kids all get it.
Right.
And then pass it on to their families. And
did you hear about these COVID parties?
Yes.
Have you heard about that?
What is this like? Is this another like Tide Pod type thing? Like you're trying to get like.
So what these kids were doing is they were finding somebody that is known to test positive, inviting them to the party, and then everyone pays a cover to get into the party. The first person to then be negative and then test positive gets to keep the pot.
Okay.
Right. Right.
we all did some stupid shit when we were younger, but I mean, come on, man.
Right.
I mean, we got really bored.
Yeah.
We didn't have the type of entertainment that kids have now.
Oh God, no.
We were never that bored.
Dude, I remember Atari coming out, and I was thrilled to play Pong or Asteroids. Now
Unlimited options on games.
Right.
We didn't
unlimited
have the
videos
benefit
to
of
watch.
Freaking COVID parties, though. Jeez.
Yeah, that would have been sweet, dude. I'd be all over that.
I was going to say, I'm actually a little jealous. I'm kidding.
Well, actually, that's what I'm having tomorrow.
Outstanding.
Yeah, you guys are invited.
Outstanding.
I mean, I hate to make a joke about it, but it's just like, how
could you not, though? It's the same thing with, like I said, like the Tide Pods and all those challenges. These people are doing all this dumb shit. It's like, just why?
Yeah.
I mean, you could blame it on boredom, but there's a fine line between being stupid and being bored, and that's just.
Well, and you know what? It's okay to be stupid. What it's not okay is to be.
But you're not only putting yourself
negligent and just like, and it's not even negligence now. That is, I know there are going to be consequences to this, and I'm going to do it anyway for a laugh or for.
Hey, fine, you're going to get yourself sick, but think about what you do when you go home to your parents' house.
Your grandparents.
Right.
Nephew.
Down
niece.
the line. Like people you work with, people. I mean, it's so stupid.
But at that age, I mean, we were all 10 foot tall and bulletproof in our 20s.
That's true too.
Nothing was going to get us. We drove cars like morons, and somebody got stuck someplace once. I remember.
Oh yeah, I remember that too.
Wait a minute. Did I?
We're talking about the one when he was in
Are you
Concord.
talking about my brother?
Who got it stuck over here
in
off Lost
Tyler?
Nation?
Or off Lost Nation? That was my brother.
Was
he
that
took
your
my
brother?
truck. No.
Oh,
okay.
Kyle did that.
Okay, so
I thought you were talking about when we were in Concord at
was
Barlock's house.
deployed. He took my truck and took it over to the fields at Lost Nation Airfield or something like, or behind there somewhere.
Yep.
and
to go off-roading?
went mudding and got it stuck.
Not
And,
stuck.
like,
He buried
that
bitch.
truck.
Really? I never heard this story
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
No,
I was pissed.
I'm working afternoon shift, and Will and I, your dad and I,
Yeah.
were on the same shift. It was his dad's night off, and I talked to him the night before, and I'm like, "What are you up to tomorrow?" "Oh, I'm going to take the wife out. We're going to go out, have a nice dinner, have a couple of drinks." So I'm driving around, and I'm on scan, and I hear somebody call out a plate that came back to your dad, and so I did a little digging and figured out who was driving and where the truck was at.
Oh my God.
I called your old man. I'm like, "Where you at?" And he was somewhere in East Lake. So all right, I'll be right there. Stopped by, said, "You might want to call Kyle." He's like, "Why?" "Well, I think your truck is in quicksand, or somebody's truck is." And he just shook his head, the way he did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I can say that one was not me.
See, I thought it was you.
No.
So my
You would've-
bad.
I got
think.
that truck stuck quite a bit,
The best is when you
but
did it
I
at
never
Barlast's
asked for
house.
help. Yeah, that one was funny.
When you what?
He's got it stuck at one of our friends' houses. So it was in Concord, and there's like no sidewalks, and there's a ditch,
There's a pretty good, like,
pretty good ditch there.
yeah.
I don't. I still have no idea what the hell you were doing. The driveway was another 50 yards up, and somehow he decided to go straight through their front yard and just got stuck in the
Okay,
ditch.
well, there was snow out,
There was a lot of
right?
snow.
Yeah. And
Did you slip, or was that just you just thought you were gonna make it to the driveway?
Yeah, I don't know. I was
Something happened. There was some people, something happened.
17,
in a
some
place.
things happen.
16,
Who knows?
Yeah, whatever. And I just, and that one, but again, I made sure I got it out, and the old man wasn't going to know about it.
Right.
Like, I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
it
true.
out.
Yeah,
right?
we make sure we're gonna all of us.
Right,
We all knew. We're
right.
like, okay, let's make sure Will doesn't find out about
Right.
this.
I did enough stupid shit that I had to call.
Yeah.
And putting my tail between my legs and saying, yeah.
All right, time to call Dad.
And he had
That
a hell
one
of a
was-
sense of humor about that stuff.
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was always
Very understanding individual.
It's like, hey, I'm gonna call my dad. I'm like, yeah,
My
you
God,
know
look at
what,
the
dude? I gotta
time.
get out of here. I got that thing tomorrow early.
At that place with those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna, yeah.
What do we think
Take
of the? What do we think
This
of the
is
Irish
really
whiskey?
good.
I like it, man.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised.
So I am not typically a single malt guy. So like even Irish whiskeys, I would prefer to be blended. Like I don't do scotches, but this is surprisingly
pretty
very
damn good.
smooth.
Yeah,
I like
it's
this.
smooth. It's I was like I said, it's the first time I tried to find something that I figured I knew I didn't have, but
Right.
I didn't know about you guys. And you had said bourbon, and I'm like, I don't see anything here that really looks
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, this is really good, man.
Great drippies.
Oh yeah, we call these drippies here. The
your
legs.
piece of the legs, yeah.
Yeah, that's our thing.
Very good.
Yeah. No, that's really good.
This
I
bottle's
appreciate
in
you
trouble. Who's got the number for Uber?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we could make that happen.
We can definitely make that
Actually,
happen.
What's our record? 2.5 bottles?
Oh man.
wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
Oh, challenge accepted.
I think we got some more in the back there. And Ian brought a bottle too, so we should be.
I
all right.
got 2 kids with driver's licenses.
There
We're
you
covered,
go.
man. We don't have to pay Uber. I just
only
got to
working a
buy
half
Taco
day tomorrow,
Bell,
so-
right? I'm off tomorrow.
Got to hit Taco Bell on the way. That's a given. Oh man,
So anyway, what were we even?
we were talking about.
Oh, we were
like,
talking about
and
like
everything.
COVID parties and all that crap. Yeah, like
think
I
we
don't
were
know.
getting on-
Again, we did some stupid shit, and I think it's good. Oh, that's what my point was. It's good to do stupid shit when you're growing up.
Sure.
Well, no,
That's
that's
how
you
you
learn.
learn,
That's
right?
how lessons
like
learned.
if you're not failing, you're not trying. And when you got to put your tail between your legs and say I fucked up and understand what the consequences are and deal with that, like you learn something from it.
Well, yeah.
yeah,
Plus, you know what to watch for when you have kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%,
right?
100%.
But like these COVID parties and I don't know, man.
I
just
get it.
can't-
I get it. If you're going to hang out with your friends, you're gonna go play Madden. You're gonna go hang out. I get it.
I have no
That's
problem
fine.
with that. Look,
And that's
kids
just- that's-
that age,
that's-
they want to go
That's innocent.
fuck and they want to go party. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I have no problem with
So
it.
one day they'll be on the Talking Dads.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe
Yeah,
sooner than
right.
they want to be.
Right.
But
Right.
that's what we're here for.
And I don't even care about that. Like that is fine. That is typical.
It's when
late
you're
teens,
intentionally-
early 20s. But if you're going and putting a pool of money on who can get tested first, or who can get tested positive first,
You're going to be out licking
come on,
countertops.
right?
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah. I'm at a loss on that one.
But again, that's the 10 feet tall and bulletproof. There's
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
consequences. It's not going to mess me up. Fuck everyone else.
What's the other thing? They were they were snorting rubbers.
yeah, snorting rubbers is another
Oh
one.
my God! Who that? Really?
It's like, okay.
I hated them things anyhow. I'm not
yeah,
going to
exactly.
put one up my nose.
Yeah. I mean, like
Unless
I said,
you got a lot of money on it. I mean,
Yeah, what are we talking here? I guess
$20 is $20, man.
there's a drugstore down the road. Might have to do that on camera.
I got 100 on me.
Oh, all right. Well,
Yeah.
tomorrow's Friday. I mean, I get a little crazy.
I can see my next conversation with your dad when we get caught up. Did you seriously give my kid $100 to snort a rubber?
Like,
Yeah, you should have seen it.
It was awesome.
Proud
God,
papa
you know what the
moment.
messed up thing though is 20 years ago, I totally would have taken you up on it. Oh, 10 years ago.
Wait a minute.
Last week.
How old are you?
I'm
You're 34.
34.
Fuck, I'm old.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, we're getting up there. Hey, well, you look young. It's cool.
Oh, see, I like you.
Yeah.
I knew I liked you. Cheers.
Speaking of looking young, so Tim, what you do now, now that you're
Yeah.
retired from the police department, so you run an OsteoStrong.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So tell us a little bit about that because, one of our consistent benefactors of drinks on this show is Billy. And, so we've talked about it a little bit before, but I do think it's an interesting concept that I don't know enough about, even though I talk to Billy quite a bit.
All right. So what we do is we're an all-natural solution to osteoporosis, joint and back pain, type 2 diabetes. There's an enormous athletic benefit to what we do. We strengthen the whole musculoskeletal system, so bones, tendons, and ligaments. Dr. John Jaquish is a creator. His mother was diagnosed with severe osteoporosis, like a negative 3.4 DEXA scan, which is just brittle bones. So he's scared to death she's going to break a hip. He's writing his master's thesis, I believe it was. So he starts researching osteoporosis and comes upon a scientific study from the 1800s called Wolff's Law. And what Wolff's Law told us was that bones will adapt when subject to a sufficient amount of pressure. So it's not like you come into my center and I whack you with a 2x4 or anything.
Sounds familiar.
Right. But yeah, you just had a flashback.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw him wince a little bit.
Sorry about you had
Little
that twitch. Yeah, that little tick. But we have this equipment that's proprietary to OsteoStrong that you perform what's called osteogenic loading. So they're called growth triggers. And you get on these machines and you push, but we set you up at a 120-degree angle of inclusion. So like when you're doing the upper growth trigger, it's loading that upper kinetic chain. So the arms, the chest, the upper chest cavity. And you guys know from working out, if you get stuck on the bench, I'm sorry, I keep fading back here.
You're good.
If you get stuck on the bench, you get stuck down by your chest. That's where your muscles are at their longest and their weakest. They're at their strongest at that 120-degree angle. So you can move phenomenal amounts of weight that last 4 to 6 inches. We take advantage of that alignment. And I've got, I had a 69-year-old woman today on the upper growth trigger push 548 pounds. But,
Holy crap.
And again, it sounds pretty unbelievable. And I had a hell of a time getting my mind around this because ever since you've known me, I've worked out.
Yeah.
So it was really foreign for me to understand this. But when I started to look into the science, started to do some reading, the deer study, Wolff's Law, it's legit. It works. But you do that through your upper kinetic chain. You do the lower kinetic chain, which is the legs, the hips, and the spine. And it taps your body's natural adaptive response to trigger bone density naturally. Tendon and ligament strength, which was an issue for me with the back surgery and 4 knee surgeries. You know, my right knee, I was
Speaking of stuck cars.
right.
Oh, this one.
You know that story?
We'll get to it.
Yeah, we can get to it.
I want to hear it.
But I was on deck for knee replacement. That's the only reason I retired out of law enforcement is because of my back and my knees. And knee replacement is nowhere in my foreseeable future right now.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I still can't run. I still can't take 210 pounds and mash it bone on bone, but I can walk pain-free now. Whereas before, when I retired, I mean, walking was like chewing on a busted tooth. So with strengthening that supporting cast around that knee capsule, it stabilized that joint.
So by doing these functions and using these machines and getting scientific about it, you can actually increase bone density.
Yeah, increase bone density. We can increase muscular strength, not like they do in a gym.
But that's like a side effect, right? Or is that what you're trying to do?
It's all pretty much even.
Okay.
You know, you're strengthening and thickening the tendons and ligaments around the joint capsules and whatnot, and it really it works. I mean, I had one client with an 18% increase in her bone density in 18 months, and postmenopausal women can be losing up to 2.5% a year.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean it's
it must be something, because I know like there's some big names that are.
Yeah, Tony Robbins.
Yeah, Tony Robbins is the guy that I was thinking of. I mean, he wouldn't put his name on something, that wasn't legit.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say they're all over the place, but there's quite a few.
We're in 8 different countries.
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah, they're everywhere. Huh?
They're over. We're over 130 centers, and I don't know how many we have going in this quarter, but I mean, this thing has exploded.
So
Damn.
is OsteoStrong the only one doing this kind of work, or is there competitors?
We got the market cornered.
Okay.
There's one other device out there that does something similar, but it's more of a one-size-fits-all, whereas the Spectrum equipment that we use is more tailor-made. It's more adjustable. It's a single load sensor machine, which is the device that tells you how many pounds of force you're generating. So that's far more accurate than the other machine that's currently on the market.
Oh.
It's very cool.
Amazing.
So, and it's not just for old people.
Oh God, no.
And that's, I think, what threw me off. Like, I've known you for a long time, and I knew you were doing it. And I started seeing, I don't know, just one of the videos that you guys posted or whatever of, what's his name?
Wrestler?
Yeah.
EC3.
EC3.
Ethan
And like,
Carter.
this dude's a monster.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is this guy like branding with OsteoStrong? Like, he's literally a bodybuilder.
Yeah, he's a
and,
monster.
like, wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what does he need this for? And like, when he talks about it, I'm like, oh shit. Like,
He had knee and some back issues from all the years of wrestling.
Yeah.
And it was affecting his game. And actually, Jim Schleicher,
Yeah.
Gary
I've seen him.
Caladukin, they were the ones that brought him in. And it was funny because Billy, James, and Gary kept trying to get Mike and I to wrestle. And I don't know if there was some odd perversion with that or what was going on.
knowing Billy, there probably was.
Yeah.
Mike and I ultimately told him, you know what, we're not going to wrestle. We're just going to beat the crap out of you two or you three.
Yeah. It sounds better.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
like for sure.
I won't take pictures with him anymore.
Yeah.
He's
you
a
don't feel
big
bad
dude.
about yourself. Yeah. Go stand next to him.
Exactly.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need
So
to get
that's
in there.
cool.
Maybe
Yeah.
get,
I'm interested.
a bad shoulder, has bad knees.
Yeah.
My daughter has loose shoulder joints, and she just had her second surgery from it. And I've been trying to get her, she's 21, and again, 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I've been trying to get her, girl, you got to come up here. Dad kind of runs the joint.
Yeah.
So once she recovers from the surgery, we're going to get her in there. We're going to get that tightened up for her.
Nice.
Because I prefer to go do something like that instead of get surgery. My shoulder, I definitely need to get checked out.
Yeah.
I just recently retired from softball because I just can't throw the ball anymore.
That's how my daughter.
Because I can't.
Hers.
Like the day after a doubleheader, bless you, I couldn't even lift my arm up. I'd have to just put it up on the seat next to me and just hold it there because it's the only place I felt comfortable. Like that's how bad it gets sometimes. So it's pretty miserable.
Well, you guys come in and see me. I mean, check it out. Try
Yeah,
it
I would like to.
before you do anything surgical.
I don't want to do surgery right now. I can't. I can't do it because I have two. Right now, I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old.
That'll keep you busy.
Yeah.
And that I can't. There's no chance because they're always
Right.
jumping on me. I have to carry them everywhere. I can't.
Especially
There's
your
nothing-
boys. Like, there's no way.
No, they just crawl all over me, man. They're like little spider monkeys, just always all over me. So I'm like, there's no chance.
Yeah, definitely come up and see me. And if any of your audience comes in and sees me, if they tell me that they heard about it on the Talking Dads, I'll waive the enrollment fee.
Oh, look at that.
I like that.
Look at
Good
that.
plug there. All right.
All right.
We'll have to showcase that.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
awesome, man.
But they got to tell me they heard it from you guys.
I like it.
I like it.
Appreciate that.
All right. So back to the car being stuck.
Let's hear this story.
Wait a minute, which one?
Well, the one that ultimately led to your retirement.
Oh, yeah.
Your lasting injuries.
So all right. So and actually, this will be again. I get my information from my dad. So now I haven't talked to him about this in a long, long time. But as the story goes, you guys were on duty, got a call that somebody put a car in a ditch.
Lakeland and 337th. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And rather than, you know, calling the city tow or whatever, this guy decides, well, I just got done doing a set, so why don't I just go down there and push this fucker out? Is that really kind of how it happened, or?
Yeah, that kind of started it out. I
mean, I could totally see you doing that.
Yeah, I was trying to get it out myself, trying to save, you know, the poor bastard some money, and I couldn't get it out. So when I stopped trying, and I felt something in my knee, but I didn't think much of it. I mean, I'd had 2 surgeries on it already, so it hurt here and there. I went to walk back around the car, and there was one of those graded manhole covers. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see it. I was focused on other things. My left leg went into that. I went all the way up to my groin. My right leg stayed on the ground, but it went down and at a 45-degree angle. And I shredded everything I had left in there. And I fractured my wrist.
Oh my, yeah.
So that was a good time.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Oh, it was a blast. You know, and I couldn't get out of that fucking hole.
Yeah, I bet.
I couldn't. And
you got a broken wrist, the other leg's just destroyed.
Right.
There's nothing, you can't pull yourself out of that situation.
Right. Yeah. So they had to pull me out of the hole, and it was funny because we were working CEI still. I had a side job at CEI, and I'm like, I kind of want that money. So I went back to the station. I went over to the fire department, loaded 2 big bags full of ice, and I went up to CEI and sat in the guard shack till 8 in the morning.
God,
that was a mistake.
Yeah, that'd be a fun shift.
No.
Pop some Tylenol, you'll be all right. God, it's miserable.
Yeah, that's
so. That's the story. Okay.
Yeah. I remember hearing about it, and you know, but it's been forever. It just triggered my.
I was kind of hoping for something a little more juicy, but it's all right. That's still a great story, though.
Yeah, no,
I thought it was going to be something like, you know, something we did as a stupid thing.
No, and you know, you're right. You know, your dad and I get together, and there was a lot of stuff that I didn't tell my kids that happened at work by design.
Sure,
you know, I didn't want them freaking out.
Yeah.
Your old man came into town, came over to the house. I got some steaks. We got a bottle out, got some cigars, and drinks are flowing, cigars are lit. And he starts telling stories. And my daughter was sitting there with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's a cop. He wasn't then. I think he was going to the academy. But I remember my daughter looked at me, and she goes, "You did what?" And I looked at Will. He goes, "You didn't share that one, did you?" I said, No, I didn't tell him that one, Will. But
yeah, thank you.
May as well finish.
Yeah, at this point. Already too far into it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing I remember growing up is that you guys all had a really good, at least shift, but I think the whole department was just, I mean, I used to go up there. I didn't have any problem going up there, and there was, at any given time, somebody was there. Right. No. Sometimes I wish I would have gone there in handcuffs instead of for bringing me home, but you know, because that happened too many times.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that? Like, you know, they talk about like, oh, you're a cop's kid, so you're not going to get in trouble. And like, man, that was just not my experience. Like, I remember begging Menor cops to take me to jail at like 16 years old.
Please don't send me home.
To take me to jail, and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Dad's coming to pick you up.
My old man was a cop.
Yeah. So, oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take me to jail.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to call your old man. Don't call the old man. Take me to jail.
Yeah.
My brother was drag racing right out here on Euclid Avenue when he was like 17. And real good friend of my dad's worked at Willoughby. He was like our uncle. So they're going down Euclid Avenue, 80 mile an hour, and you're talking 1983 or something. So lights come on. The guy that my brother's racing ducks down the side street. My brother doesn't let up, keeps going. Well, the cruiser caught up to him. He pulled over, and it was our Uncle Ken. And he walked up to the car, and he looked at my brother. He goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" My brother's like, "Uncle Ken, take me to the station. Just don't call my dad." And looks at him. He goes, "I'm going to go back to the station in 15 minutes, and I'm going to wait 10. If your old man doesn't call me, I'm calling him." My brother goes beat feet and home, gets in the house, tells my old man this, and he comes unglued. Phone never rang. That's psychological warfare, man.
Yeah, right.
It
is. Oh, man.
Speaking of learning your lesson.
But it was, man. Like, I was so incredibly terrified of my dad. Like, because, like, I think as or at least for my dad, it was the expectation was higher.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because he didn't want to hear it from other departments or his own guys that, oh, your kid's piece of shit or whatever, So I would try and I still did stupid shit, but I would try my hardest just for him to not find out. And it never worked.
No.
And that's what that's why I told my kids when they got their license. I said, listen, you get pulled over, I better be the first phone call you make after that stop, because I better not hear it from somebody else.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I tell them, I says, 27 years as a cop, I figure I know about 3,000 cops nationwide. Do you really think you're going to get away with it?
I'm going to find out about it.
Right. It may not be the next day. And if I find out 2 weeks later, I'm going to be that much more pissed.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
The longer you
absolutely.
wait.
and in the end, I think that's probably even more effective than.
Absolutely. Because that's your kid's being honest with you.
Right.
I mean, that's number one. And then, like you said, you don't want to hear it from somebody else.
And how many times were you with him when he did something stupid?
Yeah.
Because it's not like Will was going to stop at him.
Probably always, but I think I got away somehow. Yeah. I was always really aware of I was very aware of my surroundings. I always knew where the exits were, and I had an escape plan. I had a plan developed before shit hit the fan. I'm like, all right, so when this gets bad, I'm gonna do this.
No one's ever accused me of being the smartest crayon in the box. So
I can
now, but back in the day, I'll say. Ian might have gotten careless at times.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to hear, feel the wrath of it. I mean, my own dad, and then on top of it, I'm going to hear it from his dad too.
Right.
He did that to everyone too. Anyone that I was friends with. If I got in trouble, it was like they got in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
I get in double time there.
How many times did you come over? We were going to go, do something, and you got stuck into doing freaking hard labor because I was in trouble for something.
Like, hey man, let's do this. You're like, well, but first we have to do this. I'm like, all right, well, cool. That's cool. It's 4:00 and I have to head home for dinner eventually.
Shovel 10 tons of stone.
It was always
chopping
stone
wood
and chopping wood. Yeah.
Or in the wintertime, making sure that driveway was perfectly clear. No ice. Right. We're out there chipping it. We're all helping him out. There's like 3 of us over there helping him. And it's like, oh, man, this is cool.
I can't wait for our kids to be old enough to do that
Seriously,
shit.
though, man.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, you guys
so
can go
rewarding.
out. Yeah, I'm looking forward to those days.
I would always guilt trip you guys, too. You guys just go ahead. I'll catch up eventually.
We should have been like, all right, see ya.
Yeah, you totally should have.
Between you and Arco, I did so many chores.
We would start at my house, then we'd make our way over to his house, and we'd have to vacuum and do other crap in there. It's like
I gotta do my chores. It's like, oh man.
But that's the shit that, I don't know. I remember that stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
We all do.
And I think that's something, and again, that comes down to parenting, right? It sounds harsh or whatever when you're the 14, 15-year-old kid that's like, what the fuck? But in reality, that kind of stuff brought us. I mean, that's why we're all still friends to this day. Is we went through all that shit together.
Absolutely. It's a good life lesson too. I mean,
right.
It teaches responsibility.
Right.
I mean, we're not going to just go fuck around and just do whatever the hell we want and get away with it.
Well, you guys knew you'd be held accountable.
Absolutely.
And if you guys were together, it wasn't just you that got held accountable. It was both of you.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, assholes, come here.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's expectations, and then there's some accountability to it. So.
God, he sounds like your dad. Well, when you talk, it sounds like him. I'm like, if I wasn't looking, and it's like, hey, assholes. It sounds like something. Oh, there it is. Sounds just like Will.
My boy brought one of his buddies over the other day, and I coached him when they played midget football. And the kid's always been shy around me. And Colin says, Dad, when Jake was little, he was afraid of you. And the kid's like 19 now. And I go, is that true, Jake? He goes, yeah. I said, you should be more afraid now. He goes, what? I said, I'm retired. They can't fire me.
That's true.
And I haven't seen that kid since. He's a good kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got some great stories, man.
It's good to do the healthy amount of fear, right?
Absolutely.
That's
for sure.
That's
and I think that's a good thing as a father to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Makes you a better person in the long run. I mean, at the time it sucks, right? I mean, as a kid, you're like, oh, this is miserable. But it's a good thing. And you appreciate it so much more now as an adult. It's like, looking back on it, it's like, yeah, they're absolutely right. That's exactly, I should have done the same. I want to do the same shit because we turned out pretty decent people. I mean, we're all right.
And when the parents say this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you, you guys, if you haven't found out already, that is the God's honest truth. Because it's the hardest thing in the world to discipline those kids. And then you're grounded for 2 weeks. And after about 5 days, you're like, fuck it, maybe I should let
Get him out.
Man, I already feel it sometimes during timeout, and it's only like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. It's like, I'm looking in there.
Just go.
Yeah, right. No, I think that's true. I mean, whether it's, a physical punishment or a mental game that you're playing or whatever it is that your I guess, weapon of choice for the discipline, I mean, there's a toll that it takes on you. And I know I've found that out with my kids, and like, I'll sit there and I'm telling Gibson something or whatever, and he's in his room and he's pouting or whatever, and I'll come downstairs and I'm like, man, I was kind of hard on him, and then you have that feeling like, all right, maybe I should go let up a little bit, and I don't.
No, you can't.
I remember like as many times.
I think it's easier to let up than to keep that.
Well, you're just going to let them off the hook then.
Yeah, and then they're like, I
got away with it. The lesson's not learned.
Yeah, they're like, I can get away with this.
And what we're trying to do as fathers is make sure that they learn these lessons, especially with the little stuff, so that way they don't turn into big mistakes.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the broken window theory.
Right.
Yeah. But Tommy Angelo said something to me when Taylor was just 2 years old. And he said, children are like bank accounts. The more you put into them early on, the more you get out of them later in life. And I've always kind of...
That makes a lot of sense.
I like that.
And I've always kind of...
I'm going to do something real quick.
Yeah. Dad hack. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, absolutely. I feel like that's an early one. Usually doesn't happen. I love when we get somebody off guard with that. Yeah. And maybe you could speak to this real quick, having a son and a daughter. So right now my kids aren't in daycare. We have babysitters. So my wife's aunt is watching the kids once a week. And she told me the other day she had to put my son in timeout because he was just being a pain in the ass. And I'm like, she's like, oh, that's okay. I'm like, absolutely, it's fine. But she said, the nice thing about boys is when you punish them like that, they'll come back and they just kind of forget about, they don't hold a grudge.
Right.
She's like, girls, she's like, they'll hold a grudge for days.
Yeah.
She's like, my daughters used to stare daggers through me. She's like my son, she's like, yeah, he'd be like loving me right after everything was all said and done. He would apologize.
Shit.
He's like, daughters? She's like, girls, no chance.
Oh.
Is that true?
My daughter is very much like me. God help her. She's a stubborn little Mick. And they tend to hang on to that shit. But it's, it's the old saying, men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Yes,
right?
for sure.
Colin, I could drop Colin off at your house tomorrow and go, you know what, you're going to hang out with Ian today. He'd be like, all right, cool. So he got a truck? Where's his truck? I want to check his, he'd be fine. I could drop him off at your house. Taylor would be like, why the hell do I have to stay here? What's here for me?
Right.
Oh, you're just going to help him out, help him in the yard a little bit. Why do I have to do it? Where's Colin? Make Colin do it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I see it. I don't really see that yet. I mean, granted, my daughter's going to be 3 next week.
Yeah, I got some time to figure that out.
Almost 2 weeks. But I already have to teach them or discipline them differently.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Again, they're little.
Yeah.
But like Gibson, I can make him look me in the eye and I can explain something to him and I can see the wheels turning. And I'm like, okay, I think he's getting this. And he might make the same mistake a couple times, but if I keep on him about it, he'll repeat back to me and all that kind of stuff, and it's easy. With my daughter, I'll do it, and then she it's like she's looking at me, she's waiting for me to finish, and then she's like, okay.
Blaze is over.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, okay, move.
Yeah. Are you done?
Yeah. That's
like,
it.
What am I supposed to do with this? I don't know how.
Dad, I got a half-naked Barbie in the other room. Are you about done here? Yeah. I got to dress.
Are you
get this taken care of? Yeah.
I
have shit to do.
Did you get that off your chest? Because I'm busy.
Cool. And I don't remember any of it.
That's accurate. That's accurate. Yeah. And the old saying, with boys, you only got to worry about one dick.
You know what the funny thing is? I said that to my oldest brother when he had his first daughter. I'm like, yeah, I said that exact saying.
I've actually never heard that before.
No,
I hate that I've just heard it.
Yeah, then you have to worry about a lot of them. And I remember saying that to my brother, and he's like, "You son of a bitch!" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, man." I'm just like, I just heard that, and I'm like, "That sounds about right."
I've never heard that.
She's going to turn 15 or 16 years old. You're going to be sitting at home one night. You're going to hear. You're going to go and answer the door, and there's going to be some little asshole standing there that reminds you of you at that age, and you know what was going through your mind
constantly.
Taylor was convinced, because I told her for years, make sure that you're not too fond of the first boy you bring home. because Dad's going to kill him. And she was terrified. She was terrified. And her boyfriend now, she was all nervous to tell me about him. And your dad, I don't know if he remembers this or not, but she gets my girlfriend to back her up. And she tells me, Kyle, this boy, Kyle O'Donnell, his family, blah, blah, blah. He wants to take me out. I said, okay. I said, is he a nice guy? She goes, oh, yeah, he's really nice. I said, okay, baby girl. I said, just make sure I meet him. She goes, really? I go, yeah. She goes, Dad, you said you were going to kill the first boy I brought home. I said, no, honey. I said, Daddy's going to be out to dinner with you when Mr. Lewis kills him.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You got to have an alibi.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll back you up, man. I'll be there.
I appreciate that.
No problem, man.
I remember when I found out I was having a girl. It's that mix of emotions. Like, I was super excited. Number one, I thought, well, this means I can be done. Like, I can just have the 2 kids and give them everything I have, and whatever.
You got one of each.
Right.
Don't
You're
care
good
any
to go.
other shape or size.
But then part of me was just like, man, like, I just don't even know. I know how to handle boys.
Right.
I think, or at least at
for
the
the most
time,
part,
I thought
yeah.
I did. I think, I don't know. It just seemed natural. With the girl, I'm just like, man, and you get those thoughts in your head. It's like, well, what she's dating and this and that, and like, I'm not going to be able to handle that. And
Call me.
yeah,
You get through it, man.
it's so far in the future.
I don't mean to talk to. I'll just go take care of the problem.
It's
love
so
it.
far in the future to me right now that I try not to think about it, but at the same time, I know that it happens like that.
Dude, they get hormonal at like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, but the bond I have with my daughter, I
think that's the coolest thing is the father-daughter relationship is like the most amazing thing. From what I hear, I don't have a daughter.
Well,
but from what I hear, it sounds like it's the coolest thing in the world.
it is because they're always going to look at you as their protector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the boys are always like close with mom, like really close with mom and everything. And so I mean it's what I hear. Like I
Right.
said, like both my brothers have 2 girls each, and they're in love.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love my boys. Obviously, they're
Oh yeah,
It's
it's just a different type of relationship. There's not one that's better than the other.
Yeah.
But the bond that you're going to have.
It's all those relationships or all those scenarios are just so different. Like, I remember, like, Steve, you're going to have, like, your boys are going to have what me and my brother had. We grew up, and you and your brothers, you guys were always fighting and always had each other's backs. Like, I remember this story. I think it was Kyle and his friends were playing basketball in our driveway. And I think either you or I don't remember. Somebody came up and like we were going to go somewhere, and then these kids from down the street like started being assholes to my brother, and they were a little bit older or whatever. And
Yeah,
just
actually,
like
remember this.
And like mind you, me and my brother were never like best of friends, inseparable, but like we fought and we were typical brothers. But I mean, I remember going after these kids and like taking the one by the throat and just like, you don't fucking do that. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
And that was like that brother bond.
That's you're looking out for your brother.
And I don't know. I don't have a sister, so I don't know if that is the same way or if it's
I think
better.
you'd probably be overprotective of your sister more than you would of your brother.
I was.
Yeah, I guess
I
that makes sense.
I think you're just always looking out for your sister.
Yeah.
Like just you have that
It's
natural
just siblings, right? Like
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like both my brothers always looked at. My life was a lot easier because I had 2 older brothers. Like going into each school, like going from elementary school to junior high, like I knew all the older
Right.
kids. Like I had all my brothers, and like no one was messing with me,
Right.
Because I had older brothers. They're like they always looked out for me. Their friends looked out for me. It was easy.
Yeah, but your older brothers could beat your ass if they got mad at you. But if somebody else touched you,
They're not. Yeah, they're gonna feel it.
yeah,
And that's how it is. I got
Yeah.
an older brother and a younger sister.
Yeah.
My
and
brother
that's-
and
I think that's the best thing too. Is you had a boy before you had a girl.
Yeah.
so he could look out for her.
yeah.
And you could be like almost like a father figure, like with dating and everything. Be like, oh, well, was this guy an asshole?
Right.
I mean, he'll look out.
I mean, I don't know.
He'll look out
man.
for her.
I the way Sloan is just such a pistol already. I fear for like I don't even know if she'll need Gibbs to.
Yeah, it's true. She's a pretty strong-minded little girl.
She is, man.
So
Taylor's meaner than
second
cat
born.
shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that kid is. I mean,
Is she the younger one?
No, she's the oldest.
She's the older one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my only thing is that, we didn't find out with our first one. Came out, and I'm like, there's some equipment missing.
Yeah, something's wrong here.
You smacked her too hard.
Still looking.
And I remember my first thought was, I've got to protect her whole life.
Yeah.
So I've got to live to be like 150. You know what I mean? And then when Colin was born, and they just like your kids, they bicker and everything.
Yeah,
but if somebody else jumps on one of them, look out.
Yeah, for sure.
That was cool the other day. Where was I? Shoot, I can't remember. I'm talk about like a proud dad moment. So Sloan was doing something and she fell, and God, we were at a park and I can't remember what it was, but she fell and she was crying. Like, oh no, what it was? They were at the house and Gibbs has this like wooden train. For some reason, out of all like the crap that they have, this wooden train is like their favorite thing to like mess around with.
Throw at each other.
Yeah. Well, and they do. They
Build it together
run around
and
the
then
house.
throw it at each other
They run
afterwards.
around the house, and it's got like a string on it that you can like almost carry.
Yeah.
And so he's going around a corner and comes up, and it smacks Sloan. I mean, she's got a good dent in her nose and everything, and she's crying. There's blood everywhere and everything, and it was funny. So I'm in the other room, and I kind of figured out what was going on, but I kind of waited, and he did the first thing, which was exactly what I would have done. It's like, all right, shh.
Right?
He doesn't want to get in trouble. You're fine. You're fine.
I'm sorry. You're fine.
Rub
But
some dirt on
then
it.
Yeah.
this 5-year-old kid goes to the freezer and grabs some ice and was like, come on, you're going to be okay, sister. This and that. And I was like, dude, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you see that kind of stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I have a good story of a random kid. So we were at the park the other day, and we showed up, and there's 3 other kids there and a dad. And it was 2 older girls, and the little brother was the youngest. And my boys started playing over there, and the little boy's pissed. He's like mad that we showed up. And the dad's like, it's okay. They're allowed to be here.
Right. This isn't your fucking park.
Exactly. It's like, they're fine. They're allowed to play and do whatever the hell they want. So they're playing, and my kids are nowhere near these kids. And the little boy goes to his dad. He's like, hey, those boys are hurting my sisters. And he's like pissed. He's like puffed chest. He's like, 100 feet tall. The kid's just so tough about it. And he's the youngest one, but he's looking out for his sisters already. Like,
That's awesome.
nobody's
That is
messing with my
awesome.
sisters.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
yeah. I'm like, that's
such a-
cool.
That's such a natural.
The sibling thing is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
I always
yeah.
said from day one, I'm like, I don't want my kid to be an only child, because I grew up with siblings, and I think it was important. I think it was easier for my parents because we kept each other busy.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And I had cousins that were only children, and they always said like, man, they really wish they had a brother or sister.
Yeah.
Because it's true. It's at home, like a situation like right now where you're stuck at home all the time.
Right.
With
You have a-
nobody.
With
Oh,
nobody.
man,
You have
right.
your best. You have your
Like-
you might drive each other crazy, but you still have someone with you besides
I
a
kept
parent.
thinking that it was just like, as bored as my kids have been, like, Dad, can we go somewhere else? I'm like, dude, we're not allowed to go anywhere. There's
Yeah.
nowhere to go. Especially like when the parks were closed, like there was nowhere to go.
But even when they opened the parks, they were packed.
yeah, right.
Like the parks that I would go to with my kids and like our usual spots, and there's usually no one there, packed.
yeah,
I'm like, you don't want to be around a ton of people, and these places are fucking packed. There's
Right.
not a parking spot in sight. It's like, oh man.
but like,
And so it's like,
at
okay,
least
so
through it all, they
we'll go
had
back
each other,
home.
right?
Yeah.
like they
You can
had
go to
each
the
other
playgrounds.
to play with, and as parents, like they gave you some relief.
Right.
God,
Can you imagine
that was
just like
brutal.
only child during this? Like that's just brutal for the kids and
Well,
for the
perfect
parents.
example is my stepsister. Her son is 8, and he's the only child, and he's just bored out of his mind.
Yeah.
He'd be calling us constantly for FaceTime, like just
Oh,
FaceTime
yeah.
with us because he's just bored. Like
Yeah,
he has nothing to
FaceTime.
Yeah, right.
and he's just walking around with his iPad, just talking to us. We're not even looking at him. He's like walking around the house. You
You're
can
like,
see the
"Yeah."
ceiling, the floor, and he's just talking. Just
Look, the cat's butt.
yeah, it's like,
right,
exactly.
right.
He's like, oh, this is Archie. I'm like, that's your dog. Cool, man. He's like just talking for a half hour.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, buddy. And my kids are 4 and 2, and they're like, they're interested for
They're
about
not gonna
2
hold their
minutes, and they're like,
attention.
nah,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
good. But I felt so bad. I just feel so bad for him because he's
Yeah.
just so bored. He wants to play games with us, and I'm like, buddy, we've been on the phone for about a half hour, and this is
I'm maxed out.
yeah. I'm like,
about all
buddy,
you
I
got.
got it. He calls my dad constantly. He plays
Really?
Uno with him. They do a science project every day. I'm like, 'cause
really?
my dad's he's retired, so and we get to see my dad. My sister lives in she lives in Denver, So she's not around us. So not only does she not have like anywhere for her kid to go and a sibling to play with, they're in Denver.
Yeah, they got no family.
They have no family out there. And because, I mean, who do you trust to go see?
Right.
Like your family.
Right.
You know, so for him, it's like, that's
rough,
brutal.
man. This thing is so crazy.
But this whole thing, I mean, the couple of good things or the one good thing that I see coming out of this is I think that in today's day and age, there's so many parents that it's easier to shove a microwave dinner in the microwave and hand it to the kid, and the kid sits down and eats, and mom and dad are doing their thing, and they grab something when they go. People sitting down together and having a meal together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we slowed down a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, so before COVID, we would have activities for one of the kids Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then usually Saturday morning at least.
Oh, just
and
things
then
to do,
every
yeah.
once in a while. So it was always like, oh, we'll grab Chipotle on the way home or,
Right.
you know,
So
whatever.
You're,
and it
you're
is.
constantly running.
It's, all right, eat that quesadilla, and then you got to get in the bath, and then you got to go to bed.
Yeah.
When all of that stuff was taken away, we did. I mean, we were coming up with things to cook, and we were ordering our groceries and
Yeah.
this and that.
You figured
and
out, but you figured it out.
and we figured it out, and that's true though, because we sat down and we ate, and we got back to
Basics.
you know
A simple
back to the
life.
basics,
back to like
right.
when you guys were kids.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
you think
for sure.
about it.
We always sat at the table.
And that's what's cool is, you know, I'd get up in the morning and, you know, I get a roll Colin out of bed at about 11:30, throw a stick of dynamite in his room or something. But, you know, come down and I'd be like, dude, I'm going to make breakfast. What do you want? Well, actually, it's lunch now. But, you know, I've been up, I've worked out, I mowed the lawn, did all kinds of shit, you know. And he's like, yeah. You know, but, you know, we'd sit down, we'd have breakfast, we talked. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff's important, I think, to get that routine down and like to be able to sit at a table and talk with your kids. That's important.
Yeah.
Instead of being like you said, just throw food at them real quick and be like, all right, yeah, do that. Go watch TV.
Yeah. I
And
almost
like-
felt. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say I almost felt like disgusted with myself because we sat down and I was like, all right, well, no, you can't just get it. Like he finished his food and he like got up and he was like, well, I'm gonna go play with my cars or whatever. I'm like, no, we're still eating.
Right.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah,
He's like, what?
Just stay still for a little bit.
And so like I had to teach him to like, you know, may I be excused? And like, all right, if you're gonna be excused, you got to put your plate away and stuff. And I'm like, man, this kid's 5 years old and like he's never really had to do this.
Right.
Well, because I mean, like,
Because
the lifestyle-
we're so busy. and-
everybody's it's,
We're always
I think it's the day and age. I don't know, maybe it's not, but I feel like we're just running constantly.
We are. I mean,
It's just there's always something to do, and like I think with the whole quarantine thing, like everything slowed down, and it made life a little more simple.
definitely.
And I told my wife, and I'm like, I've probably said it on here before. It's like I kind of like it not having to be at like a birthday party, and then on top of that, I have to be at my niece's recital, so I have to leave here early to get there, and it's like we're just constantly running. All we did was run, like to activity
Constantly.
to activity, and then it's like to come home and we're like, oh, we're gonna have dinner. I'm like, my kids are home already when I get home from work. I would go to work at 12:30 every day, and I would get home at 5, and my wife was home the
That
whole
was
time.
an awesome schedule.
Wait a minute. 12:35. You okay?
It was painful.
I feel
man.
like I should give you a hug.
I'll tell you what, it was actually awesome because
for you.
I could get out and just like
That's the perfect
Because my
schedule,
schedule
right?
was awesome. I get to hang out with the kids in the morning, and my wife was home the whole time, and I'm like, all right, I'm out. Then I go get my quiet
Yeah.
time at work for
Right.
4.5 hours, and then come home, we eat dinner together.
Yeah,
we had
that-
nowhere to be,
That was a great
and I actually
quarantine
I
schedule.
actually loved it.
we
To be
all-
honest with you, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We all get wrapped up in our own reality. I mean, we really do. And, you know, running a business, it's not a 9-to-5 job.
Right.
No, it's
So
always working.
Yeah, and you know, certainly with what you do, same thing. You know, you get a client that needs some special attention or has got a problem with
Absolutely, yeah.
something. You know, you can't just go, yeah, call me tomorrow. at
Yeah,
9
I'm done.
a.m.. Yeah, no. So you kind of lose that little bit of, you know, sit down at the dinner table, everybody's cell phones, go over in the other room.
And we're
We're
hanging
gonna
out
sit
as a
down
family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk. We're gonna chill.
I just realized that like that's one of the things of why we started this was because we realized when we were going to roll the cameras and record stuff, our phones are being used to do the thing, right? And so one of the things that we love is we sit down and we have conversation with somebody for however long we want to, and there's no other distractions.
Right.
And it's funny too. It's like we hang out all the time.
Yeah.
And so before this, like when we'd just be hanging out, it's just we'd be sitting on a couch, the kids are playing, and we're both talking, but the fucking phones, man.
Right.
They're I mean, it's so easy to get lost in there. And you can't even have a normal conversation with someone. So to sit here like this and have a conversation with each other and a guest,
awesome.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm having a blast. I
It's
really am. I
it's
appreciate
really
you
great.
guys having me on.
Thank you for coming on.
Show. It's a blast.
It's so like refreshing just to be able to sit down and have a conversation. And again, going back to like the quarantine thing, like we did that with our kids, and so we've been trying to continue to do that. And again, with my schedule, it's always crazy, especially now because my wife's back at work full time and I can't have my kids at the centers. So I've been having them home during the day. So in a normal 8 or 9 hours that my wife's gone, I may be getting 2 hours worth of work done if I'm very, very lucky. And
that's the tough thing is trying to, with the
whatever.
kids being home. It's like, that's why I couldn't work from home. They gave me the option to do it, but I'm like, I'd prefer to come into the office because there's no chance in hell I'll be able to get anything done.
Especially with boys.
Yeah. They need me constantly. They need my attention. It's like, and they're crawling all over me.
And it's not fair. Trust me, I'm trying to work at home when they're there. It's just not fair. It's not fair to the kids.
Right.
And it's also not fair to my business where I'm not giving that my all. You can't be pulled in both directions. There's just not enough.
No, and you're
to go
shooing
around.
your kids away, which is, you don't realize what it's doing to them. It's hurtful, you know?
Sure.
And so it's like, okay, well,
what
I mean,
a
it
dick.
sucks. Yeah. It's like, wow, dad's an
Right,
asshole. I'll go to mom.
right. And so like now it's taken months, but we have this routine down where, we do our stuff together and then I give them a reward as long as they got that. So we do it. And I can't even credit myself. It was really my mom. So my mom's been coming in to help out.
Awesome.
It's been great. So we do brain time. What is it? Brain time, muscle time, or I don't know. Whatever
activity.
So they're doing like some kind of. So they either do their like morning yoga, or they go outside and they run around. We do like obstacle courses and stuff like that, or all that kind of stuff. And then they do brain time, which is either on the iPad or we have like all these sheets printed out and everything. And he does his writing and learning and stuff like that. And as long as he gets all that done, then they get game time. And so we try and plan it out to where, we get all that stuff done in the morning and then they get their reward of game time and I can get some work done because
Yeah. At that point when it's game time,
they're fine.
completely
Like,
distracted.
they're good. It's been,
we do something kind of like similar. It's like you do your activities, and if you do your learning time or brain time like you have, and you're a good boy, you get a sticker. So we have charts for them. So it's like if you get a sticker, you get like 25 stickers or something. And it's like then you get a toy at the end of it.
Nice.
So there's some type of reward.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a school thing. Like you get your sticker. So we're
right.
trying to keep the school thing going because they haven't been in school since March.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're going
then
on
March.
we're going on August here
Yeah.
soon. It's like, damn, man. I mean, they've been with us.
Right.
Or like my parents or my in-laws or whatever. It's like, man, I'm just dying for them to go back to school.
All right. We play the beating game.
I got to hear this.
Yeah, go do something. No. All right, you're going to take a beating. All right, I'll go. No.
Well, I might have to try that one.
No, but and it's tough. I mean, because you got these little people running around.
Yeah.
There's no manual. There's no off switch.
Right.
And it's like, when something happens, how many times have you guys called your mother or your father and gone,
Yeah.
what the
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Am I fucking up?
Right.
And that's the other thing about this whole thing too. It's like to sit down and talk to somebody who's going through the same thing and they tell a similar story. It's like, oh, thank God.
And your guys'
I'm not the
kids
only
are
one.
very close in age.
Yes, very. Yeah.
But the biggest difference is daughters.
Yeah.
Taylor, if I wanted to take a shower, mow the lawn, put a roof on the house, I'd give her 3 toys, set her down, and that chick would sit there and she was happy as shit. With Colin, if I wanted to take a piss, I give him 4 Hot Wheels, 15 other things. I go in the bathroom, close the door, take a leak. I come out and he's got the engine out of my truck in the driveway going, look at this.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man.
that's
They're
true.
just busy. Boys are just
They
so freaking
it's
busy.
constant.
Yeah.
Like when I have a project that I have to work on at the house, I tell my wife, I'm like, you need to take them somewhere just for 4 hours so I can get this done, because otherwise they're going to be with me. Like the same thing. They're crawling up. They're going to be on the roof. They're going to be doing something.
Right.
They're going to have some
NyQuil.
power tool, like just ripping shit apart. I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah, NyQuil works well.
Yeah. That's what NyQuil is. What is it? The Z?
Yeah.
Oh,
Whatever.
yeah.
Let's give that to them. They'll be fine.
Come on, kids, time for your shot. Hey,
All right. Cheers.
Yeah.
I got my
Take
drink.
your medicine.
Right. But you hear a lot of parents these days that are just dealing with normal kid stuff, and they're like, "Oh, it's so overwhelming." What do you mean it's overwhelming? This is what they do.
Yeah.
They get into shit, they break shit, they cry. You know,
You just got to adjust to it and just deal with it.
Yeah, you just
And it's all out of the norm, and everything changed, and it was
It's
shocking.
a shock.
It was definitely shocking, but it's like you adjust to it and you figure it out. And we talk about on this all the time is like, man, like if you could just figure it out and realize that, hey man, them doing this stuff and it makes you crazy and it pisses you off. Is it really that big of a deal? Is it worth getting pissed off about and like wanting to just, I mean, you get pissed off.
Sure.
And you want to just kill them, but it's like, it's not a big deal. They're kids being kids.
right. They're
Just,
doing.
and they have nothing else to do.
And
Just,
if you don't teach them otherwise, they don't know.
yeah. What do you, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I come home from work one day. I just gotten my ex-wife a Durango, brand new Durango, 2 months old. Come around the corner, pull in the driveway. There's Taylor and two of her friends. They're climbing up on the roof from the back, sliding down the windshield and down the hood. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I get out, and I was going to yell at the kids, and I was like, it's not their fault.
Yeah.
Somebody's
looks
not
like fun.
telling them. Yeah,
what
I
do
did
they
the
know?
same thing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I still remember we had a car in our driveway when I was little. We did the same thing. We're crawling all over it. I remember my dad coming out and just screaming at us. I'm like, okay, we'll never do that again.
Right.
But before that, we didn't know. We didn't know
Yeah.
there was a bad thing. We're like, that's basically an awesome toy to go play with.
Oh, look at this thing.
Yeah.
I went and yelled at the ex-wife, which might explain why I've been married.
No,
I'm okay on kid advice. Don't ask me for marriage advice.
Get the kid thing down.
No,
And that's
but
what this is all about.
That's what I love about doing this show, though, is it resets me every single week. Because by the end of the week, my temper has been tested multiple times a day for 5 or 6 days, and then I get to sit down and talk, and it's like, you know what, you're right. Like, it's not that big.
Hit
of
the
a
reset-
deal.
reset button.
And Steve and I had the benefit of our kids. You know, our wives are really good friends, and they were friends long before we were even. I mean,
Before we met them.
before we were all like together and stuff. You know what I mean? So they talked to each other, and then we started talking to each other about, oh shit, well, we're gonna have kids soon. Like, what the fuck do we do about that?
Right.
Like, you know, because
Right.
we didn't know.
How does this work?
Yeah.
Well, I know how it works.
Yeah, I know how this works, but what do we do?
I mean, I was 29 when Gibbs was born. So like I waited like my old man, I was 10 by the time, you know, my 10 years difference. So
Yeah.
he was 20 when I was born. So
Right.
I can't imagine figuring that shit out at
Can you
20.
imagine?
no
I
chance.
was 32 when Taylor was born.
Okay,
You know?
so you were like us.
But
like,
I
yeah.
had to figure out that whole, and still didn't figure out the whole marriage thing.
Yeah, you know.
But, you know, it's just crazy. I couldn't imagine being
No.
19, 20 years, because I think back
No
to the
chance.
shit I was doing then.
Right.
Absolutely.
And all of a
In
sudden
our
somebody
mid-
goes, you're dad.
Yeah,
What?
into your mid 20s, I mean, I had the best time of my life in those years.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to my wife about it. I'm like, man, remember how much fun like
We used
mid
to be.
20s were? Yeah, how fun we used to be.
Right?
We did some awesome stuff. Like we had a
Yeah.
great time, and that's why I was kind of happy that we waited till we were like,
Yeah.
we were 20. I was like 20. I was 30, I think, when Sam was born.
Yeah. I was getting
Sounds
ready to.
about
Yeah,
right,
that's
yeah.
all right. That's right.
So
No.
yeah,
Were you ever more scared in your life than you were the day your kid was born?
I was pretty terrified. I think you know what? I think the day of was pretty exciting, but I think most scared I was in that situation was when it was driving home or taking him into our house for the
God.
first
Oh,
time.
yeah.
When the nurses are like, "All right, see ya."
Yeah. And
You're like, you guys are
What?
coming with us?
what do I do with this? Yeah.
I'm like,
Can we check in for
I'm like,
another
Liz-
day?
I'm like, Liz,
Where's the crew?
I'm gonna call my mom to come over for a little bit. Like, just that's terrifying going home for the first time.
I think the most scared I've ever been, I remember clear as day, actually for both of my kids, when Chelsea told me she was pregnant. So the first one, I was we were living at my parents' house. So my parents had just moved to Arizona. They were getting ready to put their house on the market. We sold our house, and so we moved into their place for a few months while we were figuring it out. And I was doing some work on a Sunday afternoon at the daycare. We were putting new floors in or something like that. So I'd been there for like 12 or 13 hours. Had to get it done before, Monday morning we're open. I was a sweaty mess. And I get home and like we still have boxes everywhere. We had just moved in there, I don't know, whatever it was. And she did this whole like elaborate like note, and like you had to go figure it out. It was like this cute little Pinterest thing that she figured out. And she put a lot of effort into it. And I'm like, honey, I'm fucking tired. Like, what is going on?
I gotta wash my ass. I smell what
And so like she's like, well, just go in there and look. And I just remember looking at it was like a note or a letter that was written from our unborn child at this point.
All right, that's kind of
like,
cool, dude.
It was really, really cool.
That's cool, yeah.
And I remember just like and I read it like 13 times in a row, and I'm like,
right.
And I just remember being so terrified.
Well, yeah, because it's
Like,
awesome, but it's
what
like,
the fuck?
because you know it's coming eventually. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
but
right.
it's like when it happens, you're like, oh my god.
It just like in my head, it was like, okay, because I had been running the daycares for about a year at that point. And so I was just getting into my stride of like, all right, I'm going to understand how this works and I'm going to build this thing. And I was all of my focus was on that. We had been married for 2 years, I think. So we knew we wanted to have kids, but it just didn't hit my mind that like that was going to happen.
It's not real,
right?
Yeah.
And then it happened. And I was like, I remember I went to the fridge and I got a beer and I didn't say a word for like, I don't know, 15 minutes or something. And poor thing, Chelsea, she was like videotaping this and she's, wants a good reaction. And I'm just like fucking
Shit
white
in your
in the
pants.
face.
Yeah, you're like, oh.
I could relate to that. That was the same thing. I came home from work and Liz was like waiting in the window. I'm like, what the hell is she doing? She goes, I got you a gift. And I'm like, okay. So I open it up and it's like a onesie or something. And I'm like, and she's got this on video. I go,
It's a little weird.
are you
huh?
fucking kidding me? I'm like, she goes, are you excited? I'm like, yeah. I was excited, but I was same thing, terrified.
Right.
And not expecting that when I got home. I'm like, oh, cool.
It's so weird because you did the thing that made it happen.
Right, a lot.
Damn straight.
And like cause and effect, right? It shouldn't be a shock. And yet you get that notice. Right. You get that notice and you're just like, what? Like you should not be surprised at all.
No, you know what you're doing.
And yet
you know what comes out.
It is the most shocking thing, and you just like, I don't know if it's just a man thing where you don't expect to have to deal with the consequences fully, and like
you know we're trying, but eventually
We're used to handling everything. We're used to, the old lady goes,
control.
The door's fucked up, and you go over and go, well,
Yeah, fix it.
That's the hinge. I got this. I'm pregnant. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that.
I don't know what to do with
Right,
that.
exactly. We used to do a clam bake at my house in Grand River every year, and was the day after the clam bake. I am banged up, and I'm laying on the couch, and my ex comes walking down the hallway, and she's teary-eyed. What's the matter? And I'm thinking, somebody called, something, whatever.
Yeah.
She's like, I have some news. I'm like, okay, what's up? I'm pregnant. And I'm like, okay. Why are you crying? I know how it's going to come out. And I'm like, then I started tearing up. I was like, holy shit, that's right. You don't want to think of your playground that way. You know what I mean? And,
That's awesome.
You being in the Marine Corps, were you in the service?
No,
or?
I was not.
Okay, so I've been shot at, I've been stabbed, I've been kicked, I've been punched, I've had people try to run me over. I was never so scared in my life until that day.
Yeah.
May 5th, 99. My wife at the time gives birth, and I was like, fuck, what now?
Yeah.
Because
what
you
now?
Don't know. I got no clue.
Because even leading up to it, even when they're pregnant and everything, you get used to it, you get comfortable.
You do.
And then it's like all of a sudden, like, hey, I'm having contractions. We have to go to the hospital. It's like, okay, this is getting a little more real. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're holding a child and you're like, okay, this just got real. And it's like,
and the doctor's like, you want to cut the cord? What the fuck am I paying you for?
I'm like, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't. I'll go skin a deer.
Can you get some sharper scissors, please?
Yeah.
I'm sitting there.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I know, it's like,
can I gnaw through it, or is that frowned upon? I mean, what are we doing here?
So this is going to be weird, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, because this is what's going to be weird about this whole conversation.
I'm dying to see where this goes.
It's got something to do with the onesie.
So as scared as I was when she told me, I think that when you guys got pregnant, 6 months after that?
Yeah.
4 months after, whatever it was, that made me feel better because I knew I wasn't going to be alone.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Like legit, and that sounds like corny and everything, but I do remember, like, because we were, it's like 7 months, right?
Yeah.
So when we were like getting close to game time, and when they told us about you guys being pregnant, I was like, oh, okay. Like my kids, we can hang out, like we can bring the kids together.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, I was terrified. I think I need to be around people. Like I'm not good, like in isolation. No, I just drink a lot when I'm by myself, and then
Okay, so far the downside is
right.
And
I like to socialize. I like to talk and everything else.
I'll
And when
help
I
you out
start
with that.
talking to myself, it's bad things happen.
I just do what the Rice Krispies tell me.
Yeah, right. But no, I do. I remember being like, oh, all right, Stevie's gonna have a kid too. Like we'll figure this shit out together.
Right, we got this.
And like,
yeah,
that
it
was really cool.
It was nice because you said 7 months ahead of us. We were, they had Gibson, and like
that was
I'm
a
like, okay.
long fucking 7 months though.
Right.
I remember like just being like, okay, this is cool. And like just watching what he was going through. I'm like, okay, I could take advice from him and kind of see what they're doing and learn from that and kind of be like, okay, well, this is what we do. This is what we don't do.
Right.
Like, I mean, because you're going through it at the time, and I'm like, okay, I'm learning from this. So it was cool to have that experience, just learning it through him. And I mean, I had an older brother, I had a daughter at the time, so I kind of saw that already. But someone close, like my brother or him, it's like, man, this is awesome to be able to learn from it and get prepared for it.
Well, and like you say, you've got somebody that you've been friends with for years who is going through the same thing just a little bit after you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So again, there's some comfort in that. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah, we could figure it out together.
we can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did. We definitely did. We got them to get, we hung out a lot still, and we got the kids together a lot. And
Well, and then it
basically
wasn't
why this
just
whole
us,
thing started.
too.
Yeah, we had
had
another good friend, one of our best
Brian
friends.
and Raj.
Yeah, they all around the same time.
All like within a year, all of our first kids were born. And
All
like
boys
we
right
had all
off the
been
rip.
friends since we were in 5th grade, or
And
me
that's
Stevie.
awesome, man.
And that's literally how the show was born, because we're like, not everyone has that. Like that, we had a major advantage to like
We just bounce everything
shit
off each other. Yeah.
and like have a beer with each other and be like, hey, dude.
Well,
that
you guys
sucked.
can still hang out because
Right.
let's face it, you had your friends that didn't have kids, and you guys have kids. It's
Yep.
not like you're going out every weekend.
Right.
You're
No,
like,
exactly.
right.
You know, and you're
People in
saying to
different
your friends with no
situations.
kids, yeah, hey, you want to come over and hang out with me and the kids? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
no.
good.
No, we're good, man. We're gonna go do
There's a
something
wet
else.
T-shirt contest.
Yeah.
With the Wild
Right.
Goose tonight.
Sounds
we're gonna get that.
amazing, but yeah, we'll stay in.
See, back in the day, I could get you guys to help me do yard work and bullshit like that. But once
Forget
you're,
about it.
Once you're in your 30s, like
Yeah, I
you're
hope.
smart enough.
Speaking of which, are you guys hiring like a moving company for your house?
yeah.
Okay, thank God, because I've helped this. This guy's had like 15 houses, and I've had to help him move every time. And
It
I'm
just
like,
dawned on me. He's got my phone number
and
too.
I was like,
I'm
it's like, dude, if I have to move that safe again
no,
one more time, I
No.
just do we put a hole in your wall or no? No, we did
No,
good.
we
We
did
did
not.
good taking it down.
we broke a set of basement steps doing that once. Fortunately, it was like the third rung from the bottom.
Okay, good.
Well, that's not too bad. But yeah,
You're almost
those
home.
things are a
and then
pain in
boom.
the ass to
Oh
move.
yeah, Tim, you get on the bottom. The rest of us are going to hold the handles.
Oh,
We
sweet,
had-
man. Let's
Yeah,
see.
I
Just
just-
see a disadvantage of being the big guy.
Right, yeah.
I actually already moved my safe.
Thank
So,
God, man.
quick story about that. So, my sister-in-law and her fiance just moved out to Utah, and so they had movers to come pack up all their crap and everything, and they were doing it, and I was like, "Hey, what do those guys charge? Were they good? Just trying to get a feel for it because I knew our house was getting ready to go on the market at the time, and she's like, yeah, they're good, whatever. So they gave me his number, and I was like, well, are you guys available today? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, let me get this big. So I had to move a treadmill and a safe. And it was, after work, like too, cash type thing. And I was like, hey, I'm cool with that. Whatever. You guys make a little extra money. I'm great with it. Like,
oh, they're the ones that put the hole in your wall then, right?
They put a hole in my wall.
Yeah.
In the new house?
No, in the
house. In the one
now.
that you sold that belongs to somebody else.
Yeah, right.
No longer your problem.
So, I mean, it's already been fixed. But, like, these poor guys, man. There was a big dude and a skinny dude. And the big dude's, of course, on the lower end of the stairs.
Man. Right. Yeah.
He's got all the weight and everything, and like the skinny dude, man, he just lost grip and like went boom, pinned this dude up against the basement stair, like the walls.
Damn.
And I felt bad, man. The dude took a lot of weight to the chest.
Let me tell you how we moved his safe when he first bought it. He calls me.
Oh yeah.
He calls a few of us, and he goes, hey, man, you want to come over and watch the Ohio State game? I'm like, oh, cool. It's Saturday. Yeah, let's go. I'll be over in a little bit. I show up, and sure enough, there's a safe sitting in the back of his truck. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Right. I knew this day was a
car. Beer and pizza.
Yeah, there was beer and pizza. But, yeah, so then our other friend pulls up.
In all fairness, it should have been steaks, but.
Yeah, true story. True story.
Right.
So our other buddy shows up, Raj shows up, and he pulls up to the end of the driveway. He got a new safe. So yeah, he's like, he couldn't afford.
Yeah. Couldn't afford shit.
Couldn't get the steaks. Yeah, I can get you guys some pizza.
Domino's,
buy one get one,
but the best.
Yeah,
dude.
Domino's.
But it was Sarducci's though.
It was Sarducci's. I love Sarducci's.
Yes.
We would get the Italian sub.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, it was so good.
But our other buddy pulls up, and he gets out of his car. He starts walking up the driveway. He sees what we're doing, and he goes. Just turns around and
he literally left.
He's like, didn't even say a word. Just gets in his car and leaves. I'm like, sweet. So there's three of us, and I'm holding this thing, and I have my hands on the side, and we're pushing it through his sliding door. And I get in there.
It was Ted's house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I get it through, and I'm like, hey guys, hold on, wait. I have to move my hand, and they just start pushing. My hands on the side of the safe, and they push it through, and my fingers between the safe and the door. It just goes all the way through.
Oh, that was rough.
And I'm like, and I couldn't let go, so I'm still holding this thing. And I'm like, we have to go the rest of the way. I'm like, just push it. And oh my god, man.
Yeah,
that hurt so freaking bad.
I mean, not that bad, but I felt bad.
Yeah, don't drop it, asshole. Yeah, okay, I just broke my finger. Cool.
Yeah, not bad enough that the movie guys would have been busy. Been like, hey, dude, we got to move this shit again.
Slides the skin off my hand. I'm like, sweet, that was cool.
Yeah.
And we had to move it from there to.
We've moved that safe a lot.
To Concord, to your parents, to
back
the
to
house
Concord.
now.
Yeah.
Back to Concord again.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. We moved that safe.
I moved this guy so many times.
You really have.
Right.
I haven't been around to really help him with those chores lately. Kids got in the way. It's a perfect excuse for everything.
Yeah. I'd like to, but kids got a fever. I don't know what's going on.
That's what I told Chelsea this time. I mean, even the last time we moved, it was all self-move, and we had
nobody had kids yet.
Got the boys together, and we just knocked it out. We had a couple trucks, a couple trailers. It was fine.
That was a rush move, though.
That one was
because you guys were trying to get in the house.
2 weeks before Gibbs was born, we moved into our house.
Yeah,
wow.
Had to get everything painted. We were working on that house, get everything ready.
I mean, it was
so.
Awesome.
Mama was in good spirits. Would you guys hurry up?
Yeah. I remember.
I'm ready.
She brought up today. She goes, "Yeah, remember when you guys did that and you decided to move our bed last?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry." We got it all done, and you didn't have to lift a finger.
Yeah,
right.
We had to do a lot of shit.
I'm sorry you had to lay on the couch for a couple hours, but
right.
That sucks, man.
Dude, you got to go home now. So maybe you know what? It was a joy, and it was just a. You were remiss.
She doesn't listen. She'll like it. Like she'll.
I get that bad when you're damn good and ready to give it to her.
I think I found the clip for this week. Oh, it's gold. Oh man. That bitch.
But yeah, no, I told her this time. Yeah. You said that though?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course I said that. What'd you say though?
Oh man, but yeah, I told it. I'm like, we're getting movers this time. Like, I don't have the time.
All right, cheers to that. I'm excited for you guys, man.
Yeah.
At first, I'm like, damn it. I'm like,
cheers.
I'm like, you know what? I hope you. Yeah, ping, ping. I'm like, oh, you're moving again. Sweet, dude. And you sold it. Fuck, that means we have to help you move again.
Honey, hurry up and book an all-inclusive trip to Bermuda.
Right.
Yes. Right. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
But the cool thing is, there's still a ton of firsts that you guys are going to see. And
yeah, that's true.
Handing your kids the key to the car.
Ooh.
And saying, go ahead and go.
Gotta be terrifying.
Or you're going to shit an egg roll.
Oh, my God. Oh man, because think about it. Think about it like this. Remember when we were 16 years old and we all got our license for the first time? You were a little bit further behind.
Yeah.
I think Witterman got in trouble going like 80 down.
Bellflower?
No, the other street, Adkins.
Oh, yeah.
I remember going down Jeremy going like 100 miles an hour. Narco's parents' Lumina.
Oh, the Lumina. Yeah.
It just burnt, like the car broke down. We had to call his dad to come over and be like, he's like, what happened? There's a smoke coming out, steam coming out of the hood. And we're like, oh, you have no idea. We were just driving and this happened.
There was a chipmunk? I don't know.
I mean, just stupid shit. And then like, we're going to hand her, you went through the same thing because you know the dumb shit you did.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, here's the keys. Go be safe. And it's like, you know what they're going to be doing.
So I remember growing up, and again, I was behind. I was always the youngest. So like, I had friends that already had their license before I could even get my temps. So I had driven a car before, but not that much.
Right.
Like I messed around a little bit, but at the end of the day, I was like, hey, whatever.
Hey, you had your temps. It was cool.
But I remember I got my the day I got my temps, my dad took me, and we took his the red truck.
Oh,
the one that my brother got.
Yeah,
stuck.
that was very easy to maneuver.
Right. So we drove to Perry. I did the test, got my temps, and like I'd never actually been taught before, but I'd driven a little bit. And he goes, all right, you're driving. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, well, we got to get on the freeway to go home. And he goes, yeah. And I took that thing, got on the freeway and went. I mean, that's a 350, 3,500
Right,
GMC.
a 3/4 ton.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a beast.
And it was just like,
okay, our one
go.
fan tonight.
And
It's
it's just,
Steve. He works.
Oh, yeah,
for
he
the
works.
Coins
Yeah,
over at
yeah,
the
that's
Wild
right, yeah.
Goose there.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like, get in there and go, man. And I think that was a good way to do it because I was
Absolutely.
never scared. I've never been scared.
Well, that's
you
why
know?
I did that to Taylor. She was 14, and it was winter break. I pulled into Riverside's parking lot. I had that Chevy Silverado. Mm-hmm. Pulled in the parking lot. I stopped. They said, get out. She goes, what? I said, get out. And I got out. She goes, what? I said, drive it. She goes, what? I said, drive it. I said, just see those big poles? Yeah. Don't hit those.
Yeah.
Right.
I just bought that Challenger.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That great,
So,
yeah, that thing's bad.
Dude, I wanted that
a lot
car
of fun.
since I was 14. So I buy it, drive it home, and I stopped up at 1922 there.
Oh, yeah.
Coffee and
Yeah,
Brew.
the coffee and brew bar.
I'm friends with the owners, and I had told Brian I was going to get it. He's like, man, bring it by. So I stopped there. My son happens to drive by, and then one of my closest friends, Vic Bordelon, lives across the street from me. He's got Big in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one that's been teaching Colin guitar. But anyhow, Vic's up there. Colin drives by, sees me standing by the car, pulls in, parks his car. He didn't say a word other than, give me the keys. Now, I hadn't told him I bought it, but he knew, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, listen, it's a 6-speed manual. I said, you got to be careful. This isn't like your Jeep, don't mess with sport mode, leave traction control on. He's like, yeah, Dad, I got it. And Vic goes, I'll go with him. I'm like, all right. They leave. They come back. Vic's driving. They were gone like 15, 20 minutes. So 2 days later, I'm sitting with Vic, and I'm like, how was Colin with the car? He goes, he wasn't afraid. I go, what? He goes, we pulled out. He turned sport on, traction control off, and he was running that bitch. And I'm like, but you'd have done this. I'd have done the exact same
Sure,
thing.
absolutely.
Dude, I still do it.
Right.
So
And-
my
Good.
mom, so all these years my mom put into this business, and she did, she never really did anything for herself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it was always about the business, and it was always making sure that me and my brother were good and everything else. And she ran a very successful business, but then never spoiled herself, right? Like very modest. And so a couple years ago, they surprised, it was like I think like a year and a half ago, my dad goes, dude, guess what your mom just did? I'm like, what? She goes, she just bought a car. I'm like, oh, good. She had this Taurus or whatever. Again, just nice car.
SHO, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't an SHO.
Oh, I thought she had a show.
No.
Oh, okay.
They had that VW.
But it was a
kinda
nice,
hopped
yeah,
up,
she had
but-
that, yeah. Always very nice, but not anything extravagant.
Nothing crazy.
Right.
And so my dad goes, all right, hold on, I'm going to send you a picture. So my mom bought this Maserati.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
The old man told me about it. I go, wait a minute.
Like, why
Michelle
would my
did
mom
what?
do that? Like, that is not her at all. And she had wanted a nice Italian sports car for a long time. And I was so proud of her. She actually did it. She took something for herself. And so it was like maybe 6 months later, we finally got out to Arizona. I'm like, all right, well, I got to drive this thing.
Right,
And
give
I'm
me the
not a
keys.
car guy by any means. Like, it doesn't like really get me going. But I got the keys in that thing. I hit 122 and I felt freaking amazing.
Right.
In a car like that, though, you don't even realize how fast you're going.
Oh my God, I thought I was going
It's like-
70 miles an hour.
It doesn't feel like anything.
I hit 122.
When you have a
My dad's
solid
like,
car
dude,
like that,
it's
man,
10
like a
a.m. on a
fast car."
Tuesday. You can't do that right now. I'm like,
I
I
couldn't
just
help
did.
it.
Watch me. Hold my
Yeah.
beer and watch this.
I could not help it.
Oh my God, that thing was awesome.
I've had mine up to 140, and it's like you're doing 60. I got
Yeah.
out on I-90. It was a Sunday evening. There's nobody out, and I'm like, all right, But like you say, it's like you're going 60, 70 miles an hour,
Yeah.
and you look down, you're like,
Oh.
time to slow down.
My dad looks over because it was just me and my dad. We had ran up to, whatever. I don't know what we were doing.
In 3 seconds.
You were driving the shit out of your mom's car. is
Right,
what
and
you
we
were
go,
doing.
Yeah, exactly what you guys were doing.
He goes, dude, I haven't done that to that yet. You're like, I haven't really tested
Opened it
this
up,
thing
yeah.
yet.
You're
Opened
like,
it
what are you
up, and
waiting
I'm
for?
Well,
I did.
okay.
And that's another reason why I can never have a
Why'd
bike.
you let me drive it then? Oh yeah, I'm terrified.
I've gotten on a motorcycle before, dirt bike, and gone. And you get up to like 90, not even realizing you're doing it. You're like, holy shit, man.
Right.
This is bad.
Comes
I would,
up
kill, I
quick.
would kill myself on one of these.
Yeah.
Well, the boy likes a Challenger. My daughter steals my Jeep.
Yeah. He likes the Jeep, huh?
Jeep thief. And I cut you off. I
No, you're good.
apologize. Yeah, no, she'll call me at work, what'd you drive today? I drove the Challenger. So the Jeep's at the house? Yeah, I get home, Jeep's gone.
That's gone. It's the boy in us, you gotta have the fast car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked at how much I enjoyed driving it.
Yeah.
Because I've never really been like a speed freak or an adrenaline junkie. Like, I shouldn't say I like.
I was going to say, wait a minute, I know what you
I
did
like
in the Corps.
adrenaline, but speed was never my thing. Like,
Yeah. Until you
I
get
I like
it.
heights. Heights really.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of
Roller
gets me
coasters
going.
and all that stuff.
Roller
Really?
coasters. Oh yeah.
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 Well, we're Cedar Point junkies.
Yeah.
Like
Really?
Yeah.
I like
big
that.
time, man.
I
Me
like,
and our wives are like we love it.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to go.
I know.
mean,
Well,
I
not
don't know
this
what the
year.
rules are, but
Not
Well,
this
they're
year.
open, aren't they?
They are, but it's like so every time. Okay, so say a car goes right, and once the people
They
get
have
off the
to
ride,
shut it
they have to
down.
shut it down, clean everything, and then
Yeah,
you
it's
let them
not-
on it. So you're waiting for
yeah, fuck that.
double time.
I was going to say, how's that different from normal?
You're still waiting a long time, but you're
waiting.
waiting double time though.
Yeah, that's even
if you have a
worse.
fast pass, you're still getting an hour and a half in.
God, when those fast passes first came out,
Dude, we did the
went-
fast pass. What was it, 4th of July one year?
yeah, it was on the 4th of July. Because vets get in free on 4th of July, and was it the whole party or?
I can't remember. We got a deal,
That's awesome.
But
though.
basically, we just had to pay for our fast passes.
which were expensive, but it was awesome,
yeah, it's
man.
expensive,
Yeah.
but when you don't have to pay for the ticket,
It's
it was,
all worth
you know,
it, man. You're getting on every ride instantly.
We hit
And it's-
every ride twice in like 6 hours.
We got there at noon. We left by 5:30, and we were done.
like we got to the point where we were like woozy.
We had to,
Really?
because like usually when you get off a ride, you have to go sit in another line for like an
it
hour and
kinda
a
calms
half.
you down.
Right.
And you're
Right.
kind of your equilibrium, everything's like back to normal. It's like, but we're
We
boom,
just-
boom, boom, boom.
it was awesome.
We're like, we got to take a break.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Cedar Point in, I bet you, 15, maybe 20 years.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh
but
man.
for guys with young kids, have you guys taken your kids to Waldemere over in the PA?
no.
No, but I
Oh.
heard it's amazing.
Dude, you got to take the kids.
All right.
It's geared. They've got some adult rides. It's not as big as Cedar Point,
Right.
but it's just cool as shit.
I heard Waldemar is amazing. I think the Jankoviches went
Oh, did
there.
they go?
Yeah, and I
It's
remember hearing it
not
was amazing.
expensive. It's not expensive at all. It's a nice park. It's very family friendly.
Yeah.
God damn, I sound old.
It's very.
It's very family friendly. You can load the station wagon
It's
up.
great. Yeah, you get loaded up and
Well,
spend the
of
whole
course.
entire day there. Pack some lunches.
Yes, make some
Get some
sandwiches.
get some cold cuts and some
Cold
fruit.
cuts.
But I
There's
mean,
this-
for good.
There's this. So there's this a Navy
Domestic violence,
training video.
which I recently looked up actually on YouTube.
Did you find it?
I found it.
So I remember from when I was in the Corps, like it was one of those like mandatory lockdown days where you had to do all this like required training, and they would play these videos that they had made probably in the 80s that they still use today. And there's this one, it's about domestic violence. and it's this Navy guy coming home, and the wife is, she's all dolled up, and the house is pristine.
And she's being so sweet, too.
So
I'm sorry, I
sweet.
had the kids all day. I didn't have time to make dinner.
Yeah.
And he's like, because I watched it recently, so I'm fresh up on this thing. I had to show some people at work, so I'm like,
so this
she's
chick
being a
pulls
dick.
out of the fridge like this like platter of like just a
Sandwiches.
beautiful looking sandwich, like this huge like thing that you cut up, and he gets fucking pissed and just whaps her.
Really?
It's
cold cuts.
Cold cuts.
It's like, Jesus,
Some
man.
staged like
It's
terrible video.
And the kid's sitting at the table. It's just terrible, man. It's
like, don't drop the sandwich, goddammit. I'm
But I remember
hungry.
Ian telling me about that video. I'm like, I got to look this up. And then so I'm talking about it at work, and I'm like, I don't even know how it came about, but I'm like, just recently.
Really?
I'm like, I got to show some of my coworkers this video. So sure enough, I looked it up on YouTube, and it popped right up. I'm like,
I know what I'm doing when I get
It's
home.
an
yeah,
amazing
that's
video.
like
It's-
Navy, like domestic violence video or something
Yeah.
like that. And
It is
He's
so
such a
incredibly
dick.
staged, and he's such a dick.
he comes in, she's like, hey, how was your day at work? He's like, yeah, great. And she's like,
Yeah.
okay. She's like,
She's
well, I'm
all
sorry.
dolled up,
yeah, she's
you know.
being
like
super.
the worst.
So,
I mean, you know how those videos work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the worst. They're not actors.
Well, I'm going to find out if that video is still being used because Dawn's son is in the Corps right now.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
They just shipped him over to Okinawa and quarantined them because of the
Yeah.
COVID. So he's in Japan. He's quarantined. 20 people in the unit come up with COVID.
oh,
The Japanese are all pissed off. They can't do it. They're allowed to have 2 drinks. That's it. And they're not allowed to do shit.
wow.
So you've got, the whole,
You don't even think about that, man.
Oki's a fun place, man. I was there for 2 years.
yeah.
Until you're there during this time.
But yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You
saying.
can't do-
Because
you
it's a
can't do
small place.
anything.
But I'm gonna try and call. I don't know what the hell time it is in Japan. I don't know why, but I'm gonna have to call him on the way home and say,
Yeah.
"Dude, did you see the domestic violence
Yeah.
video
Yeah,
with the
find out
cold?"
if
wonder
they're-
if they
if
still
they're still
use that.
using it. If they
That'd
are,
be
oh my
amazing if they
god!
are.
God,
Because what was that?
Well, remember, that
2003.
was 2003,
Four?
2004. Yeah. So, I mean, I
It's
guess
still
that
16
was
years ago.
16 years ago. But
Jeez.
if they were
Ugh.
using, I mean, there's no way that video was made before 1990 or after 1990.
No.
Like it was,
Dude, the '80s rocked.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I heard the 70s were way better though.
Yes, they were. I lived through both of them.
Yeah, I heard a lot of stories from guys
I
I
know
work
that
with.
video always gets me. Like it's just so insane.
Yeah,
I've got to YouTube that.
So whenever somebody says cold cuts, that just like triggers
Cold
me.
cuts.
Cold cuts.
amazing.
Work all day and I got cold cuts.
So amazing.
That's funny.
So I'm listening to 92.3 The Fan today, and they were talking about, they had a segment on today about, what really grinds my gears. And they're talking about, they're complaining about things that bother them. And I'm like, you know what? I have to ask you guys, what's a big pet peeve of yours? Because I'll tell you mine,
Okay.
because I think you know it already. But I heard Tobacco recently posted a video of his son. And he's saying like, yeah, my son was, he noticed me itching my leg. And he's like, I keep itching my leg. And I'm like,
That does grind your gears.
it grinds my gears, man. This is what pisses me off.
Wait a minute. What is it?
So when someone says, hey, can you itch my back? I'm like, no, my back's already itchy. I don't need you to make, additionally add more itchiness to my back so you could scratch it. You need to scratch my back. It's itchy.
That does really piss you off. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
When people say it, they're like, oh, you want me to itch your back? I'm like, no, scratch my back because it's itchy. I don't want it to be any more itchy. You need to scratch. It's scratching your back.
Right.
That
Yeah, I'm
bothers
with
the
you.
shit out of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And so all my friends know that's my pet peeve, and they all fuck with
say
me.
it all the
They're like, oh man, somebody needs to itch my back. I'm like,
yeah.
What the old man say? If you have a weakness and I don't exploit it, it becomes my weakness.
it is
Yeah,
my weakness,
yeah, right,
and people
right.
know it too because I've made it
100%,
clear. Because I correct people all the time. I'm like, it's scratch. It bothers the shit out of
Yeah.
me. So I wanted to ask you guys if there's
Dude,
if there's something that gets you.
You wait till I run into you.
I know you're gonna do it all
Dude,
the time
would
now.
you itch
will.
my back?
Yeah, I'm like, son of
I
a
do
bitch.
it all the
Your
time.
back's itchy. I'm gonna
Yeah.
scratch it.
If I remember, I get so happy when
I've got
I
a
remember.
scratchy back. Would you itch it?
If I remember, like when we're hanging out or something like that, I get so excited just to set it up.
Yeah, he does. I was too. I just go, son of a bitch.
There's this whole plan
Yeah.
going on.
Oh, yeah.
Son of a bitch.
It's fantastic. Pet peeves, man.
I had to put you on the spot because we have to put our guests on the spot all the time. So I figured
That's
you
true.
I got mine.
Go ahead.
I'm easy. No,
Go ahead.
bro.
No,
He doesn't have
give
one
me
yet.
a minute.
He needs a
Yeah,
moment.
Yeah.
Mine is no manners.
Ooh,
I cannot stand. Like I was raised. You hold a door for a woman.
Yes.
Doesn't matter whose woman it is, or you hold a door for whoever's behind you. It doesn't matter. Or when you're going down the grocery aisle, you don't go down the middle. You go down the
You move to the side.
And I ram people's carts. I'll hold it.
Are you the type of guy, like if someone says, like you say you're at a fast food restaurant and you pay and they don't say anything to you, go, okay, have a nice day. Or you say, have a nice day. You're like, oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes me crazy.
Yeah.
I'm
like,
that guy. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's just,
manners is a good one.
Oh, it's
especially in customer service too.
Right.
That really irks me.
Oh,
it's horrible.
It's like just say have a nice day to me. If I say, hey, have a good one, respond.
Right. The convenience store by me. I'll stop there sometimes in the morning and grab a can or something, walk in and you walk up to the counter and they just look at you. How about good morning?
Hey.
Or,
Yeah,
hey, what's
how's it
happening?
going? Have a conversation with me, man.
So now it's a contest. Can a Grizzly win or green? And I don't say anything else. And then they give me my change. They go, oh, have a good day. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, because you're right though. That's something because like I was brought up on having good manners,
right.
and that does bother the shit out of me.
Oh, that drives me nuts. I mean, if I get an itchy back,
And someone doesn't itch it for
somebody
you.
an itch it for me,
Son of a bitch!
right? But bad.
Break the table in
bad
half.
nasty.
So what'd you come up with?
Well, I guess it's along the same lines, but like specifically, I like eye contact.
Right.
It really pisses me off when somebody can't look you in the eye because then I think you're lying to me.
Right. You're hiding something.
For sure. Especially we deal with the kids too, man.
Dude,
The
and
kids
like,
looking past you, it's like, look at me, and they're like,
you could probably ask my kids and they would tell you, you look at them in the eye, you look at dad in the eye. Because whenever they do something wrong, and it could be as simple as they didn't put their toys away, like, and I'm not going to bust them up over it.
Right.
But when I'm explaining something, look at me in the eyes so that I understand that you're acknowledging what I'm saying.
Right.
Absolutely.
And we can work on this together. You're
Well, now
not
I
in
feel
trouble.
a need to look him in the eye now constantly.
that's why. So I started to
Right.
again. I'm like, he's talking. Pay
but I think
attention.
we do it. And now
we
it's
do,
like-
but you don't. Now it's like I'm thinking about it.
I think that comes from my old man though, because
Yes.
I remember. I mean, when my
He was
dad
big on that.
when my dad used to get into me for something that I did wrong, it was very natural for me to be like, okay. He was a big dude.
It's hard to not
right?
like look down at your feet and like, just be like,
Right.
you know,
Like
but like.
especially
take
if
it
I
in.
knew I did something wrong, because you know when you do something wrong.
Oh, God,
Like,
sure.
There's no hiding it. And so you do. You try and look away so that you're not as guilty for whatever reason, but that's not true.
And it's just uncomfortable, but it's like, yeah, like you said, make sure they're taking it in. Like,
Right.
If you know they're making eye contact, they're at least semi paying attention to you.
So with my kids for sure, I make sure, but I mean, even at work, I'll be talking to
Well,
somebody.
for somebody
be
who
like-
needs to
and it's
take
something simple, like
accountability on
I'll
something.
be talking to one of my directors or something like, hey, next time we need to do this. And I am very watered down,
Right.
And I have to be.
Yeah, in that
that's
business,
okay.
yeah,
I have no
definitely.
problem
So
with
do
that.
I.
absolutely, yeah,
Right,
for sure,
yeah.
for sure.
You have to be watered down.
It's not
but-
being a police officer or a Marine.
Right,
It's like,
right. But even so, like, I'm like, hey, next time when we do this, and I'm like, I try and like jazz it up and
yeah,
be excited about it. And they're like looking away. I'm like, all right, stop.
Right.
I need to make sure that you're understanding
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Take
Because
this
we can
in.
have this conversation differently.
yeah.
Or
Or I'm going to keep telling you
Right.
until you're actually paying attention.
But yeah, I think eye contact is really, and again, I think that's from my dad. He always drilled that into me.
I'll give you another one. This.
Yeah. I'm bad about that.
Are you?
He is bad.
I am.
Bill is horrible.
Really? Oh, yeah, he
It's
is.
to the point now where I'll be talking to Bill and his phone will go off and we're talking and he'll pull his phone out and so now it's to the point anytime he pulls his phone out when we're talking, I pull my phone out and I don't give a shit if I just go on Instagram or YouTube or whatever and I'll just pull shit up
Yeah.
and I won't say a word.
See, I'll do that too. Like where I'm telling my wife a story. Like she gets home from work and she's like, she wants her downtime, but she'll start messing around on the phone during a conversation. And I'll be like, I'll just stop talking.
Right.
Until she looks up at me. I'll be like, she goes, okay. And I'm like, are you listening?
Or,
And she's like, okay. And then she'll put the phone down.
or the other thing is pull your phone out and get on it. And then when she looks and goes, well, what were you saying? Oh, I thought it was phone time.
Yeah. I don't know. You weren't paying attention. So
I
know
am
she
bad about it.
you hear me, but it's like, you're not really listening to what I'm saying.
You know what? You know
and
what?
that surprises me that you're bad about
I am.
that because with the eye contact
I know.
thing, if you're
I
fucking
know.
around with your phone,
Well, and I was just about to say, this is I am self-admitting that I'm really bad about this because it drives me fucking crazy.
That's why I
when
love
Chelsea
being on
does
this when I get to hang out with Ian, is because if we're hanging out at his house and it's just like the dude's hanging out, the guy's on his phone the whole time.
So,
and then I know he's not paying attention because I'll tell a story and he'll be like, yeah.
I'm going to check your ass on that when you do it.
I try to. I really do try.
Maybe I should start calling you out.
You should.
I'm calling you out right now.
You absolutely should, because in my head, I'm like, well, I can multitask because I've got this going on or what they're going on. And I will, especially with Chelsea, I'll be like, well, I'm sorry, I'm working. Like, somebody's asking me something and I got to take care of this right now. And I'm listening to your story, though. In reality, I'm not. I like to say that I am.
I think you're kind of paying attention, but it's not your focus isn't there.
Right.
So you're missing.
But when
parts
somebody
of it.
does it to me, or like even just the eye contact, it drives me fucking crazy.
You want to throw the phone in the sewer.
And yet I don't reciprocate that. And that's shitty. And so I have been trying to work on that.
It's not a conscious thing for you.
Right.
See, I will find myself sometimes I get home from work and I'll sit down and I'll start messing around with my phone, answering text messages and things like that. And then my kids are talking to me. I'm like, yeah. And I don't want to do that because they see that.
Yeah.
Right.
And they take everything in.
Oh, the kids definitely see
And they're
it.
looking up to you.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there playing, like, they're like, okay, fine, I'll just go play on this iPad or do something. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't want that to happen.
It sucks. I mean, I'm such a big fan of the phone and technology and how it allows us to have a mobile office everywhere you go. Like, I can take the kids to the park and still be available to my staff.
I think it's knowing when to shut it off.
Right.
Just to get. I mean, I know the tough part is like for you guys being business owners, like you have to be on call or like something's going on, you have to be there for it. But at the same time, like you take your kids to the park, it's like I have to ignore this for the next hour.
Here's the perfect example. I can have my phone being the camera for this show for a couple hours a night.
Yeah, you can do the same thing for your kids.
I'm okay. I can do that. And that really has made me do it.
It's enjoyable to be able to not have to sit there and depend on that freaking thing.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Right.
Now, how old were you when you got your first cell phone?
I was 18 years old, and I was on the way home from Paris Island.
I was 17, I think. But at the time, there wasn't really much to do on it except for make phone calls.
Right.
So I was 32. And the only reason I got a cell phone is it stayed in the diaper bag because whoever had Taylor had the cell phone.
Oh, okay. So it just went with the bag.
Right. But now it's to the point where if I leave the house and I forget this thing,
you turn around.
I'll be late.
You get a panic. You're like, fuck,
Dude,
I gotta get my
I can be
cell
halfway
phone.
to work and already be late.
Turn around.
I'm turning around because
Right,
I'm like,
yeah.
I have to be late. I have to go get my phone.
Because like you say, and even for you, the business, what if one of the clients wants to get a hold of me? I have to do my social media posting. I have to do this. I have to do that. And I don't have a house phone.
Yeah.
I hate these fucking things.
They are awesome, but they're also terrible at the same time.
Right.
Like I know that like
It's
if
a
someone
double-edged
really needed to
sword.
get a hold of me, like I'm at work, they could get a hold of me.
Right.
Like my wife knows my phone number at work.
Here's a really good example. All right, so what day was it? Was it yesterday?
Sure, for story's sake.
Yeah, yesterday.
Okay.
So my mom's in town, right? And she helps out with the kids and stuff like that. But we had some stuff to do for the business. And so my mother-in-law happened to be off. Yeah, it was yesterday. It was Wednesday. No, it was Tuesday. I'm sorry. All right, back to the story.
Right.
Yesterday.
This week, one day.
So
a
Tuesday
day.
morning, Chelsea took the kids over to my mother-in-law's house. She was off that day. So she was like, hey, yeah, I'll take the kids. You guys got stuff to do? No problem. So we got our stuff done or whatever. And when she dropped them off, it was like, okay, at like 1:30, 2 o'clock, my mom's going to take the kids and she's going to go meet her sister. So, just have the kids ready by then. Cool. So we got an update at like 11:30. She sent us a picture or whatever. Fine. And it gets to like 1:30. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go get the kids because they're not here yet. I won't make her pack them up and go. I'll just go get them real quick and bring them back. So I go over to my mother-in-law's house and nobody's home. I'm like, okay. So I call. No answer. Shit. So I call my wife. She's like, well, hold on. I can track where she's at, based on her phone location. Well, it says they're home. So I go in the house. Her phone's on the counter. She didn't bring her phone with her. I'm like, well, where are they?
Right.
So I'm like, all right, well, whatever, it's fine. They went to a park or something like that. I'll just hang out here. She knows that like 2:00. I'm waiting like 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, now I'm getting worried because we haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
So we call like Chelsea's grandpa's house. No, I haven't seen him all day. Whatever. I'm not even home. Shit. And like we freaked out for a couple minutes there. And turns out she just like took the kids up and got some McDonald's and went to the park and then came back. She just didn't bring her phone. And we were like,
I think it's added stress. I think that like when we were younger, we didn't have that worry.
yeah,
Like
our kids,
it's fine.
Our parents never knew where we were.
No, they had no clue. They had to call people's houses to find out where the hell we were. But now it's like, man, with everything in our lives right now, it's instant gratification, right? If you don't get a response, like I text Ian about something for the podcast or just anything, and I don't see those little bubbles pop up that he's responding to me. I'm like, what the fuck's this guy doing? Why is he ignoring me? It's like, or same thing with like
how
my wife.
hard is it?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, just respond to me. What's the problem? Like, this is important. Like,
Yep.
But it's not a big deal because like he's busy, he's working, or vice versa. I mean, it's like, but you don't get that instant response. It's like, well, something's wrong.
Right.
It's like
it's tough, man.
And in your mind, you're like, how long does it take to reply to a text?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what you're doing,
It's like, or my wife, sometimes she works till like 10 o'clock at night. So it's like, why hasn't she called yet? Or I'll text her. She doesn't respond. I'm like, something's got to be wrong. She got mugged. Or, what I mean? I start thinking of the worst possible thing. I'm like,
Chelsea and I had the conversation while this was going on. We're like, well, if she was at the hospital, she would have to get a hold of one of us for insurance information.
Right.
Yeah.
Or permission to
It's
treat.
the most ridiculous
but
thing to have.
when your mind
But
instantly
your
goes
mind
to something.
goes
Kids
there.
to get a cheeseburger and play at the playground.
So once again, these things are a blessing and a fucking curse because I mean we're sitting here thinking about the worst possible thing when it's not even a big deal. They're fine. They're going to get ice cream. They're going for a walk. And like my parents are the same way. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot my phone at home.
And then I felt terrible because so what happened was I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go check a couple parks that are around here, and I did.
I'm gonna call the police station.
The first one, and there was her car wasn't there, so I was like, okay. So I start driving to the next one, and I see her at the intersection. She was bringing the kids back, and I was like, hey, and there's a gas
where you
station
been?
right there, and she's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm just getting them both in the car was a lot of work, and it is
Understandable.
And I just took off and forgot my phone. I'm like, it's okay, no big deal.
Right.
Like, everyone's good.
Yeah,
Because now you've talked yourself down. Now you've talked yourself down.
Like I felt terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we this crazy?
We all
But you're
are.
right. It's instant gratification.
Yeah, it's everything. It's everything that we do now.
Yeah, and
I have to get a response now. I have to have an answer to this. I have a thought in my mind like, what movie did they say this quote? I'll just Google it right now and find out.
Right.
And
with kids, you're going to find that
Oh, God.
you text one of your kids, Ian, where you at? What you doing? You don't answer right away. I'm like, all right, what the fuck is he doing?
Right.
Yeah.
That he didn't want me to know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's true, man.
But when I was still working, when I was still on the job, I was seeing a woman that she'd text me and I'd be working and I'd be on a DV call or a barricaded gunman or whatever. You can't answer.
You can't respond.
You can't go, hang on, dude.
Yeah, time
I
out.
gotta check. My chick's trying
Old
to
lady,
get
old lady's getting a hold of me. This
and
is
she
important.
would get livid, and I'm like, you remember what I do for a living, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, man.
It's just
that is very true.
so we get married to these damn things. We do.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
I'm not
And I
without
hate to
guilt.
shit on them because they are so incredibly functional and can be so advantageous to business and with personal relationships and everything else. So you can do technology is amazing, but you're right. It comes at a price.
Oh, sure.
For sure.
And it's like, how much are you willing to pay? Are you willing to sacrifice? I mean, my wife and I do it all the time. We'll be sitting there and like we finally get a moment, and we do. Like we let the kids. You're excused from the table. They put their plates in the sink.
Go do their thing.
We let them go do their thing, and we take like 10 or 15 minutes, and we're just talking about the day, whatever.
Right.
And then it eventually goes to like, hey, did you hear that so-and-so? And let me look that up. And then
the next thing you know, you're both on the phone.
Once one of us is looking something up, we're both on it, and then it'll be like 15 more minutes. We're like, all right, what are the kids doing? We've just been sitting here on our
Yep.
fuck.
Right.
We did it again.
It's
so
tough.
easy to do.
Yeah.
So easy to do.
It's right there.
Yeah.
It's
Always.
right there.
All the answers are right there at your fingertips. Yep. Everything you want. So, all right. Well, I think we need to move on to a very important part of the show.
We probably should.
Go ahead.
I am not taking my clothes off.
Please.
All right.
I see the rest of the tattoos.
$20, $20.
That's a solid
Take
price.
your shirt off and we can itch your back.
Son of a bitch.
My back is scratchy.
I gotta take a walk. I gotta step outside.
No, so Tim, so what we found on the show is that I think it's important, especially for viewers and or listeners, to understand kind of what a dad goes through. And so one of the ways that we pull that out from our guests is a proud dad moment. So it's important, I think, to look back, whether it was 15 or 20 years ago or it was yesterday, and say, I was either proud of my kid for something or I was proud of myself for something, being a dad.
Okay. All right.
And go.
And you're up.
All right. So about a month ago, when all these protests were going on, they were doing one in downtown Painesville.
Yep.
And that's when there was all that garbage about we're going to come to the suburbs, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So I went home and had my kids at the house. And, I'm like, chances are nothing's going to happen, but we need to be prepared. So I have a couple of firearms.
A few.
Yeah. And so I said, what's everybody comfortable with? Taylor goes, I want the AK. I'm like, proud papa moment.
Yeah.
So
For sure, man.
That's one. I don't know how arable that is.
That's good.
But you know what? I have to say, my kids always make me proud. And I know that sounds like a cop-out, but they give me no shit. They do what they're told 95% of the time. I can't think of a time when my kids have embarrassed me or made me not proud of them. They're good kids. And listen, I'm not the guy that's going to say, well, my kids are great. No, I'm the one that'll say, my kid's kind of an asshole. So, I jerk it on, not in his ass every once in a while, but they're truly good kids. I was proud of my daughter getting into Ursuline. She got like $48,000 in academic scholarship money.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it wasn't even that they tried recruiting her for sports, but she wanted to focus on her studies. My son competing, throughout the state in these auto tech things, and he's a junior and was placing in the top 5. So I was really proud of that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
So I've been blessed.
Yeah,
really
for sure. That's awesome.
Well, I think that the takeaway from that is when you're just to say that your kids don't embarrass you. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that is a testament to you.
Well, thank
right?
you.
And probably your ex-wife and
sure. She's
whoever
a
else has
great
been
mom.
involved.
Yeah.
I think that's a good bar, right? Like
Yeah.
kids are not perfect. We were not perfect growing up.
Oh God, no.
No.
I don't think perfect is the bar, right?
No.
And I think for new dads sometimes, or new parents, sometimes you think that perfect is the bar, and I think
It's not realistic.
We're here to tell you
No.
that's not realistic, and it doesn't have to be perfect because you don't learn anything that way.
Absolutely.
So
You learn from
if
mistakes.
if you can be proud of how your kids handled a situation, that's all you can ask for,
Right.
and that's a testament to you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I like to think so. But, as much as my ex-wife and I, the marriage didn't work out, she's been a great mother to my children.
Mm-hmm.
I would never take that away from her. And, I've been blessed. I really have.
That's
I've
awesome.
Got,
That's
I've
awesome,
got two
man.
phenomenal
Good for you, man.
kids.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I like it.
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Okay, then we have one more for you.
Are we going to hug or?
We will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It usually ends
That's
in
off
that.
camera.
Oh,
Yeah,
is
we
it?
don't do. Yeah, we do it off camera. We shut down the cameras.
Yeah.
Keep the mics going.
All
Turn the
right,
lights
awesome.
down a little bit.
Yeah.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Itch the backs.
Yeah, itch your backs.
Yeah, I should have never said
scratchy.
anything. Ian already knew it, but now you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn
yeah.
it.
Well, he kind of had a dad hack already.
He did. I'm gonna say the dad hack real quick.
All right. Yeah. Oh, you got one? Got a
Well,
new
so
one?
this happened at the we went to a birthday party this past weekend, and I didn't even realize it was a dad hack. But Crockett was very impressed with this. So my kids, I'm trying to wrangle them up because we had to go out to Rock Creek. We were going to watch
we're going out
fireworks.
for fireworks. Yeah.
So I'm trying to get the kids all wrangled up and everything into the car. We got to go because I have to go home and pack everything up and then come back out to Ian's house. So what I did was my kids are running around the front yard. I can't get their attention. So what I do is I pop the hatch on my car because they like to climb in the back of the car. I have a Explorer, so they like to climb in the back and then they get in their seats. So what I did was I opened up the hatch, so both of them just walk straight to the car. They climb in the hatch. I shut the hatch and I start the car so the air conditioning's on. And they both climb in their seats.
Dude.
And it was like just such a fluid motion. Like it's just like that. They both just, Kevin's like, I can't believe that just happened. He's like, they just got in the car.
Everyone was so impressed. I was like, I've seen that a few times before.
It's the beatings.
Yeah.
The beatings.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. They know what to do. Yeah. I'm like, you see that hatch open up, you get your ass in the car. And they get in, boom, it's closed, and they get their seats, and the car's on, and they're good to go. And I'm like,
That's
boom,
awesome.
that's it. So I'm like, that's a new dad hack.
Yeah, we do like the dad hacks because I think it does give people a different perspective on how to deal with a situation, right? Like,
Right.
so
For sure.
in your case,
I never realized that was even a thing.
and
I'm
it
like,
was.
I do it all the time.
I've seen you do it before.
Yeah, I just
like
never
at
thought
our
of it.
house, and
Yeah.
I never really thought of it. But we were at that birthday party, and everyone was like, "Holy shit, did that just work?"
Because they could have
Right.
they're like, everybody's like, oh my God, your kids are going towards the street. I'm like, they're fine. I'm just like, hitting buttons on my remote. I'm like, yep.
I got a remote control for my kids.
Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah, watch this.
Yep.
It's just a
It's like
sound.
Pavlov's dog, man.
That's right.
Like they did.
Right.
Hatch is open. We're going.
It's like a mosquito to a
you're
flame,
right.
man. They're just like,
That's awesome.
they see it open. They're like, all right, I'm going in.
Give yourself the button on that.
Oh,
one.
okay, I will. That's a new one.
There we go.
I'm proud today.
Nice.
Hack.
What about you?
So I don't know if I have a new dad hack. I'd have to think about it. But my classic dad hack that when we first started figuring out that was going to be part of our show,
We did that on the spot.
we did. But it's misdirection. So it's a Marine Corps trick.
Right.
So my kid, it doesn't really work on Sloan just because she's just another.
She's a
beast.
woman.
Yeah.
Right.
But Gibbs, it works very, very well. He could be, knee deep in a Mario game or something like that. And I ask him 3 times, hey, it's time to wash up, get ready for dinner. And he'll just, I'm not even talking to him.
Right.
But if I really want to get his attention, I'll just go, hey! I do the loud.
Damn, my head snapped. I was like,
It scared the shit out of you. I was prepared for it. I knew it was
Yeah,
coming.
he knows. But he will. He'll look up and be like, what? I go, all right, what I need you to do is I need you to touch the front door. I need you to come back here. I need you to spin around in a circle 3 times, do 10 jumping jacks, do 15 push-ups, go touch the side door. Then I need you to come back here and do 5 more push-ups. And I'll just come up with this impossible list.
Right.
There's no way a 5-year-old can remember it and everything else. But he will try.
Awesome.
He wants to do okay, fine.
Yeah.
And so he'll start doing it. He goes, all right, now what? I'm like, all right, now wash your hands and go sit down. It's time for dinner. So it stops him from what he was doing, gets his attention, gets him focused on something else, and then he gets to the activity that I wanted him to do in the first place.
That's awesome.
I haven't
So
hit the
that
button for
really
you in a long
works.
time, Ian.
Woo!
There you go.
Nice.
Boom, boom, boom.
That's and it still works with him. My daughter could give 2 shits.
Right.
So I'm still trying to figure out how to
I hear
motivate her.
She's like she's hearing the teacher from Peanuts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Dad's like, blah, blah,
she's
blah. Sure, Dad,
She just
cool.
looks at me and rubs her hair out of her eyes. And she's like,
Whatever.
Okay, I will carry you to the table then.
and I will too.
I know.
Best advice I can give you guys as fathers is we are fathers. We're not the kids' friends.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty of time to be friends with them when they're
Yeah.
30, 34 years
Absolutely.
old.
There
'cause
comes
you
a time
and
for
Dad-
that.
Sure. But at this point, it's our job to instill in them values, morals, and discipline. And if you tell them this is the line, don't cross it, or A is going to happen, and they cross that line and A doesn't happen, what have they learned?
Nothing. Yeah.
They've learned they can do whatever the fuck
Yep,
they
exactly.
want.
No, there's no consequences.
And I know you were brought up
Yep.
that way.
Yep.
I'm assuming you
Yeah.
were too if you're hanging out with him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for me.
that's a
tantamount.
dad hack in itself right there.
It's 100% true. And you know, sometimes our kids are young, right? And like typically a lot of the dads that we talk to, they have younger kids, and that's why I really like to get some more experienced fathers.
Yes,
I think that's
absolutely.
a nice way of putting it.
Get an old man in here.
Yeah.
Right, I got you. I'm good with it.
I do like that because it makes me realize that like the hard part hasn't even started yet.
No, this is easy right now.
Right.
You know, yes, those early years of infants,
Growing pains for
that
both
was
you and
rough,
them. Yes.
right? Like, but then it gets a little bit better, and you get okay. I can function on 4 hours of sleep, and
I got this.
I can deal with some crying.
And then you get
here
to the
and
point
there.
where you're like, okay, I remember this age.
Right.
I remember being this age, and I remember
and
how
then
I
it's not
was.
so bad. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. And I think that we just have the hard part where we're really instilling values is really what's to come.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm excited that we're doing this show, because we're going to learn a lot more, and I think we're going to be so much more prepared.
I think so too. Like talking to someone like you,
Yeah.
who's been there. You've been there.
I appreciate
and
that.
like you're giving us great advice, and that sticks with us.
Yeah, 100%.
And anybody who's listening, who's going through the same shit that we're going through, preparing to get to that point, and it's like, man, okay, that's great advice. I could use that in the future. I mean,
Because that is the scary part. You know, over the next 10, 15 years, we're going to be molding our kids into adults, right? Like,
yeah,
like it's
and that
easy
goes by,
now.
as you know, it goes by fast.
Oh,
I mean,
God,
I mean,
yes.
you know, you could remember when your kids were 4 and 2 or whatever, and
Right.
it's like, man,
It
and it's
does.
like,
It goes by quick, so you gotta take a lot of joy in each moment you get with them, and you know, just spend that time with them now, because you know they become a teenager. And I'm fortunate; my kids will hang out with me as much as they hang out with their friends. My daughter will call me and be like, "What are you doing?" I'm not doing it. Yeah, I'm gonna come over and hang out.
and that's what I strive for. I'm dying for that, like that type of relationship. And I think that if you do it the right way, I think you could have that.
Yeah, you lay the groundwork now.
Yeah,
You know
that
what
is
I mean?
important. I mean, yeah, I could be like, okay, let's just get through this, and just, oh man, I'm dying for them to go to bed. I'm gonna ignore that, ignoring them and doing whatever the hell you want to do
Right.
when they need your attention, when they
Right.
need you to teach them and guide them in the right direction, and like
But
you said,
once in a
show them
while-
what the line is, and
And once in a while, it's okay. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
bedtime's
you
10.
still still
at
have
9
it.
o'clock, I need some time with mama.
yeah, exactly. And I tell my
guys
kid
need to
that,
go to
like,
bed?
after a while, it's like, buddy, you got to go to bed. I'm like, I need some
Sure.
free time. I need dad
Time
time
with
and just
mama.
yeah,
I need
exactly.
whatever it
important.
is. Yeah. But I mean, it's a rewarding. It's the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
It truly is.
That's awesome. That's what it's all about. I think.
100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
I try, and I've said it 100 times. Like, I've done a lot of cool stuff. I had a lot of fun, but I always say, like, the best thing I ever did was have kids. I truly believe that. I think that, like, I
100%.
love being a dad. I think it's awesome. So
When my time comes, I don't want my headstone to read that I was a great cop or a great this or a great that. I want to say that I was a loving father.
yeah, for sure.
Everything else in my life comes
I mean,
second.
what else matters, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
I did some cool shit.
That's what life's about.
Right. You
but
did
that,
some
at
cool
the end
shit.
of the day, it was cool shit.
Right.
It's cool shit that's forgettable. I mean, it's like,
Right.
I can look back on it, but
Legacy.
that was a lot of fun. But yeah, legacy
Right.
that's the
Like-
main thing.
Like our Tom Brew was on, on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
show, like when we first started.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, it's all about legacy. And
Yep.
I'm like, dude, you're right.
For sure.
It's 100% right.
You left the Marine Corps. Another guy stepped in, did your job.
Right.
It didn't miss a beat.
Correct.
Yep.
If you were to leave your job, another guy would step
right in and do the same
thing
thing.
with me. But as a father, nobody
Yeah.
fills those shoes
Right.
but you.
Yep.
Right.
That's absolutely
Right.
true. I love
Legacy.
that. Yep. That's what it's all about.
Yep. Hey,
Boom.
cheers
Yeah.
to
Cheers,
legacy,
guys.
boys.
Cheers to legacy.
All right. Well, that was awesome.
That was fun.
Thank you for coming on, man.
No,
This
God,
is a
thank
great
you.
time. This is a lot of fun.
Anytime.
And thank you for bringing the.
Did we ever figure out how to say this?
Is there a way to like sound this out on Google?
Napo?
You know,
Not
when
Nap-
we're done, I'm going to call my buddy Lucky. He has Murphy's Pub down in Geneva on the Lake. He's straight off the boat from Donegal, Ireland. And I'm going to ask him how we
right.
pronounce
Yes,
that.
please do. I want to know.
But you guys got to remember your next show. You got
Bring
to
it
tell.
up.
you
We
gotta
will.
tell your
We will
people.
for sure.
All right.
Absolutely. 100%.
I'm in.
All right.
I love it.
All right. In the meantime, if you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the YouTube. Check us out on www.thewell.
Wow. Where's the W?
I don't know.
How many
That
W's
was a
were
4
in
W.
there?
That was 4 W's.
www.thetalkingdads.com.
Boom.
Check out the blog posts. Check out the bourbon reviews. Check out all of our podcast library in its entirety.
Drop some comments.
Yeah.
Give us some
Let us
stars.
know what you want to hear. Invite some people to check us out.
Absolutely.
And once you've done all that, remember to
Raise good humans.
That's right.
All right. Catch you next time.
Peace. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, if you love what you just heard or watched, and we know you did, do us a solid and hit that thumbs up. Share with your friends and throw us a comment, literally about anything. Your support legit keeps us going. Oh, and don't forget to give us that 5-star rating. We really appreciate you.